Happy Friday, everybody. I am Chris Gore. This is Film Threat. We are live on YouTube. It's Friday. It's Friday for a 3-day weekend, Labor Day weekend. I'm very excited. I will be Labor Day. Actually, Labor Day is, that's my birthday. It's my birthday on Labor Day, and I'm looking forward to celebrating it. We'll barbecue, hanging out with family and friends. That's what I'm going to do. That's my weekend. What's your weekend going to be like? I don't know. It could be good, could be bad. We'll see. Let's get this show started. Let's get Alan in here. Let's get going. I may be in soft focus right now. I don't know. Can you see me? Chat, how's it going today? Glad to be with you. All right, let's get things started. I can't wait to talk about this because Board of the Rings, I mean, the Rings of Power, it's out. Yesterday around 6 p.m. Pacific time, the first two episodes dropped on Amazon Prime, and I'm hoping that you were able to check it out because we're going to get a little spoilery here. But a lot of other things to discuss. There are actual movies opening this weekend, like movies that are like 40 years old are opening at the box office this weekend and are probably going to do very well. Let's get going. It's Film Threat. Alan, I'm coming in hot.
Yeah, happy birthday. I know I'm going to forget a few days from now.
Good, that's okay. It's all right.
Yeah. And I can't believe it's Labor Day weekend and there's not a damn new movie out there.
There's not a new movie out, and the prediction is that Top Gun Maverick, which is already on digital, actually, Top Gun Maverick more than likely will be #1 at the box office, they're saying.
Yeah. In fact, we may see it this weekend.
It's a possibility, but something weird happened today. We have a Facebook page, we have a Twitter, we have an Instagram, and we don't really. I personally despise social media. I think it has turned people into assholes. I think it has ramped up division in this country. I think social media has contributed to anxiety and depression in younger people who aren't fully formed people yet. And they actually give a shit what people say online. I have been immune. I have built up rhino skin over the years just because in Film Threat, we had this column when the magazine was around called Hate Mail, where people would just send us terrible things. And I would then have the last word and be able to, dunk on them. But Alan, something happened today on our Instagram feed. I'm going to share it. So here's our Instagram feed. Our Instagram feed is like, it's usually stuff like related to Film Threat. Like we're going to a convention. Here's a funny picture of Alan or me. And I personally love movie posters. I love movie posters, all types of movie posters, exploitation movies, weird films, documentaries. And if you scroll through our feed, I mean, we've talked about some of these movies on the podcast. We interviewed the director of The Movie the other day. We had the director of Prey. We've talked about some of these films. This is a wide variety. This is a very funny video of Alan. Here's Alan looking at me. But if you look, it's a wide variety of posters, wide variety of just all types. Exploitation, weird. Here's some party that we were at San Diego Comic-Con. Here's our promotion for our panel. Again, funny videos, lots of movie posters. I mean, it's pretty much, if you scroll through, it's all movie. Oh, look, here's some plugs for our merch. That's probably something I should be promoting our merch on there. And here's something about award this. You can see it's a wide variety. We over 1,000 posts on our Instagram. The Instagram is more just like visual, right? And our Twitter feed is just promoting our reviews. And then our Facebook feed is just sort of a catch-all. I don't really do things on Facebook. But we posted this movie poster today, and it triggered people. It's a movie that's directed by Robert Davi. Wait, where'd Alan go? What happened, Alan?
My internet glitched for some reason. So
oh, that's weird. Oh, you didn't hear my whole thing. Okay, well, whatever. So we
talked about it, but so I pretty much know what
all
said.
We did was post the poster. It's like in the midst of it's sort of a weird thing. It's a narrative film that is sort of speculative about Hunter Biden, and it's directed by Robert Davi, and I think Gina Carano's in it. Yep. Some other actors. Fine, I haven't seen the film. The poster looks kind of cool. It looks weird. I don't know if I'll see it. I think we have a screener of it.
I do have the screener. It's on my watch list, but I've not seen it.
Are we gonna review it?
I mean, we should. Now that we've thrown it out there. I mean, well, I don't know. I don't know what you said, but we review everything.
We review everything, and also I don't care if you don't like this. You can. Do they have a thumbs down button on? I spend so little time on Facebook. Literally, I post.
Yeah, there's no thumbs down.
I don't care. But it's a movie that's coming out, and it's an independent film. And Robert Davi, who's an actor, has been in many things that you have loved. None of them are coming to mind now. Because
Predator 2.
What's that?
Predator 2.
Predator 2 is one of Robert Davi's movies. But he made this movie, and it's the poster. And so, hey, all I did was cut and paste what was in the. Sorry, I'm still waking up, kids. Kids? Why did I say kids? I'm out of it. This could be entertaining. But all I did was post the poster, and then people went apeshit on Facebook and Instagram. They're angry. They're angry. We posted a poster for a movie amongst the 1,100 plus other poster images that we posted, including gay LGBT films and documentaries, and 90% of this stuff is that. And occasionally, this is interesting. My son Hunter. It's a movie that's coming out, and I'm sorry, but I am a free speech absolutist when it comes to this stuff. Mm-hmm. I mean, Film Threat magazine in the 90s was owned by Larry Flint, who literally nearly gave his life for the First Amendment. So to the people that are triggered by this, you're welcome to have your opinion. And I would say to you, First Amendment's a thing, and I'm sorry if this poster hurt your feelings. I mean, now I really want to see. Now I want to see the film because
I'll say when the left puts out the Donald Trump Jr. movie, we're gonna post the poster.
We'll do that too. Look, if there's an anti-Trump movie, we'll talk about that too.
Oh, all the films, all the documentaries about Trump have all 100% anti-Trump.
100. There's one that I thought was honest, and that's it's a documentary by a British filmmaker. And I believe I interviewed him on the channel. You can look up. The movie is called The Accidental President. And it was at least a movie that it chronicled how Trump rose to prominence, but it interviewed both sides. It interviewed Democrats and Republicans of how did he pull this together, this sort of accidental president. I thought it was very honest. It was a warts and all look at Trump, but also looked at how he was able to capture basically a constituency that's been ignored. And I would say that that's the working class, which the Democrats used to represent and don't seem to anymore. I don't know what they're about. I saw that looked like the throne room of Return of the Jedi yesterday. I don't know if you saw that Biden speech. No, I'm sorry, we're getting political.
I can't do politics anymore. It's just so
depressing. We're gonna shut it down. I just wanted to say that if you follow us on Instagram, maybe post a nice comment. Just hey, it's just a movie poster. It's not gonna hurt you.
I know. I mean,
get over it.
There's zero judgment about this poster. It's just of the poster.
Also, all the people commenting don't follow us on Instagram, which I find really funny. Maybe they unfollowed us. Who knows? Anyways, so there you go. And now I really want
another doc. You interviewed Nancy Pelosi's daughter, who did
I interviewed Nancy Pelosi's daughter, who did a documentary, about the 2020 election season, and Alexandra Pelosi. So I've interviewed her a couple of times. She's made some really interesting documentaries. They're not particularly political. They're like sort of just looking at kind of like what's happening in the culture and the zeitgeist, so to speak. And
it's somewhat balanced, not something you'd expect from Nancy Pelosi's daughter.
Exactly. Anyways, I just wanted to point that out. So follow us on Instagram and or Facebook, and please post a comment. Before we talk about the Rings of Power, we're going to talk about the Rings of Power here. Let's go to the chat and see who's here. John Manalang, did you get my envelope yet? Did you get the envelope? Your envelope, actually. I sent it back to you. TGI Film Threat. Thank you for that. Hit that slap button, says Shucksy. Thanks for that. Happy birthday, you old man, says Bill T, who's a member. Thank you for that. Happy birthday, Chris. I'll take it. Chris is a fellow Virgo, says John Manalang. Hell yeah. Well, that's a win for me. It's so funny. Like, my kids are both Virgos. It's like the beginning of September. My sister, both of my kids, all born in the early weeks of September. It's bizarre. So
no, it's cold in Detroit in March.
Yeah, there you go. Max happy early birthday, Chris. What do you mean March? You got your math wrong.
Math here.
January, maybe December, late December, January. Sorry. How about the holidays?
I'm a fake Asian.
John Manalang, box office movies are drier than the LA heat right now. It's 112 in Burbank. Dempsey, LIN SHAYE as the teacher in A Nightmare on Elm Street is chef's kiss. And by the way, we're talking about Jaws. We're going to talk about the Rings of Power. And LIN SHAYE is coming on the show today to talk about a documentary that she is in about the world of horror. So you're going to be able to talk to LIN SHAYE later today. Happy birthday, Chris, says Dempsey. Thank you for that. Still think She-Hulk is good, says Justified Mayhem 32. Yes, I do.
It's not great.
First of all, the greatest thing ever. Good. Did I ever say it was great or the greatest thing ever? Was going to cure cancer? Fuck no. Is it Endgame? No. Is it like a good Marvel movie? It's not a movie. It's a dumb 90s inspired legal sitcom. On that level, it is fun. It is good fun. Never did we think in our wildest dreams that we would see She-Hulk twerking. There you go. Okay, there's way too many comments here, but I'm going to try to get through them. Yeah. I tried watching the first episode of Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power last night, passed out about halfway. All right, I'm going to save these comments because happy birthday. Hey, look at all these happy birthday. Thank you for that. It's Monday. It's as they say. Here's what I learned. If you talk to someone and they say it's my birthday month, that person may be a little, or some people say it's my birthday weekend. My birthday's Monday. And you know what? I got the day off. So, yes. And John says, well, yes, good. I did receive the envelope. Good, sir. Thank you. Yeah. Like, just send us a self-addressed stamped envelope to Film Threat 5042 Wilshire Boulevard, PMB 1500, Los Angeles, California, 90036. Send me a self-addressed stamped envelope. I'll send you a sticker. And if the envelope is large, I'll send some more stuff. Ian Wakeman for 10 pounds says, happy birthday, Chris, with 3 R's. Get it? RRR. Critical Drinker. Shout out to Critical Drinker. He doesn't need my help. The guy's like 1 million subscribers. But the Critical Drinker did a review video of RRR. And I just said, dude, I'm glad you finally discovered this movie. Thanks. And he did, it's like a 10-minute review where he goes over it and he loved it. And I think he was as surprised as a lot of people are about that film. But thank you for that, Ian. Happy birthday for Monday, Chris, from your birthday doppelganger. Yes, I'll be 57 on Monday as well. Yeah, I'm going to be 57, so there you go. Can't get you a drink in person, but get yourself something with this. Thank you for that. That's awesome. Appreciate it. AKNTE for $9.99 says, if you come to Minnesota, you guys are invited to my D&D campaign. Bunch of 40-somethings drinking and a better executed storyline than Rings of Power. I'll keep that in mind. And John Manaling says, I want out of this culture simulation. Let's get back to liking art together. Well, I don't understand. It's just a movie poster. So I was a little thrown off. Like it's just like there's tons of random like there's a lot of stuff that's if the poster looks interesting, I actually don't really care what the content is. If the poster looks interesting, a documentary, there's a gay themed horror film called Roadhead. I definitely posted that. The poster for Roadhead is hilarious. So there you go. Look, Dempsey, Film Threat will probably be the only ones who do a review of it. I don't understand. There's a weird thing in the critical community, and I think it needs to be called out. You know, if a movie is out commercially, this is where we have sort of different rules about this, sort of our own internal rules. You know, we cover movies at film festivals, but if a movie is in commercial release, meaning it's available for purchase, you can buy this movie, it's available for us to review and have an opinion of. And Alan, are you going to be reviewing that, or somebody else going to review it?
Yeah, we'll see. But I do know it will be a race between us and Christian Toto as to who gets the review up first.
Yeah, the two outlets that and here's what's weird is 90% of what we review, I would say a bunch of it is sort of apolitical. You know, most movies are apolitical. And then there's a chunk of movies that are mostly, if you had to sort of define like what the politics were or what are either progressive, in particular with documentaries, are progressive or left leaning, you know, in terms of their ideology. That's most movies. And then there's a small percentage of movies that could be put in another category. On the other side, far fewer films are made. And I don't know that even the Hunter, but I mean, it could be a comedy for all we know.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I haven't seen the movie. I don't know if it's a comedy. I just thought, the poster looks interesting. So, and Bill T says Alan is being watched by Big Brother.
I mean, the thing about political movies is, especially one-sided ones, are usually they're not that good because they don't present both sides in a respectful way.
Exactly.
And, you know, and so again, not having seen it, don't know anything about it. You know, if it is overly one-sided, you know, it's going to work against itself.
Well, exactly. Like you'll point it out in the review. It's this weird trigger thing where people are judging something before they see it, which is called prejudice. Somehow we've lost sight of like what that word means, prejudice. When you're judging something before you know anything about it, you're judging a person, you're prejudiced against a person for how they look.
Yeah.
You know,
we've redefined racism to be when you don't agree with me.
Yeah. Solomon Thornton. I don't get how this poster can hurt people's feelings. Mike has bad knees. I'm sorry to hear that, Mike. Even Andor is an anti-Trump movie, supposedly. I know, it's so stupid.
Well, you know, the Boys season 3, you know, you were talking about how balanced it was, but, you know, Highlander is clearly Trump. And he does Trumpian things in season 3. Homelander, whatever.
Highlander's a good movie series, though.
But Homelander he's clearly Trump. They're portraying him as Trump. There's no.
I don't know. I like Homelander. He's a great villain.
Yeah.
Bert for 5 and a member. Thank you for that. Happy birthday, Marcel. The Shell with Shoes On will be available on streaming Tuesday, September 6th. I'm gonna get that. I want my WAP free She-Hulk. Nice meeting you in Vegas. Hey, look. I like She-Hulk for what it is. I think it's a good, dumb sitcom. I'm finding it fun. Is Madison in this episode?
No, she's in the next one.
The next episode I didn't like as much. It's She-Hulk goes.
I actually like the next episode.
But the next episode is funny because there's this character, Madison. And look, if history proves anything, you know, the show's going to be terrible by the end. Every Marvel Disney Plus series has just gotten awful by the end. But Bert, thank you for that. And it was good meeting you as well. God, that was a good time. Buford T. Justice for $19.99. Now I know why you like She-Hulk, Chris. It was the feminist empowerment twerking scene. Exactly. That's why I like it. Chris, you compare She-Hulk to 90s sitcoms. You do realize the point of sitcoms is to be funny, right? I still love you guys. Happy birthday. I just found it fun. It was unexpectedly funny for me. Your mileage may vary. So, and I think also it helped that I watched like 4 episodes in one run. Just like, oh, this is just, You know, like it was like potato chips
Mm-hmm.
on to the next. But
yeah,
look, I think that the criticisms of the show are completely valid, and I can still like it. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Like I was just like, oh, that's a valid criticism. You maybe ignored this point to kind of like drive it home. I don't understand the rage hate for it. It's a lot of rage where I'm just like, oh, it doesn't really deserve that. You know? Yeah. It doesn't.
Well, I mean, look at the My Son Hunter poster and the comments there. It's
My Son. I know. My Son Hunter.
It's the left versus right versus left. It just goes in circles.
Mr. Thing for $1.79. Well, £1.79. People need to get over the Trump thing and move on. I would agree. Oh, and A Kenny TE says a night. Now I know, a night for $1.99. Thank you, a night. That's awesome. Could we place Alan and Chris's head onto She-Hulk and Megan Thee Stallion twerking? Get on it, Glenn.
Well, we're gonna get copyright violation.
Yeah, God, dude. Like we used to show.
You gotta change the music.
We gotta like change the. There is one video I know I can show, and just because it's Friday, only because it's Friday. Here you go. Okay, well, enough of that. There are over 250 people watching right now. Slap that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. We do appreciate that. We need you to help us out here. Just listen to Caesar.
Humans, why are you not reading Film Threat magazine? You filthy humans, you should know your place, and your place is to be reading this magazine. Yes?
Finish him!
Oh, my jeans. Oh, wow. Just remember, subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. All right, let's get
I gotta say, it's really blowing up on Instagram, and people are very disappointed with us.
So are they?
Shame on you, Chris. Shame on you.
Yeah, I see some comments. I don't know. Should I be concerned?
No, I mean, there's no profanity or anything. It's just people, people. There's one here. I may end up watching it, but it's kind of a bummer to see Film Threat promoting this garbage. That's probably the most kind comment we're getting here.
Oh, really? Well, I don't care.
Yeah.
Tomorrow we're gonna post a thing for some exploitation movie. I mean, we're not. I mean, we just posted the poster. I'm sorry. A movie existing hurts you. You guys are fucking pussies. Oh my God. What did we come to? Jesus. Let's get into this. And this is going to be, we're going to talk more spoilers here. And I want because now everyone has been able to see it. Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. I saw it in a theater on Wednesday evening with Paulie from Latino Slant. We did a 2+ hour live stream right after. George the Giant Slater joined us. Alan saw it as well because he snuck in the theater. I did start to watch it again last night and I fell asleep. It's the thing. Here's what I think is that seeing in a theater was like, oh, this is not very good. And then seeing it on television is like, oh, this is more made for the pacing is more television pacing. It's very slow and purposeful. And it was boring. The only exciting moments were in the second episode between, they're saying that the elf Elrond is gay. Is that true? I also don't care.
I think that's what Grace Randolph said.
Is he? Is he?
I think so. From what I've gathered, I mean, that's been the debate. British actors, why do they always seem gay on screen?
Yeah, but I don't think also who cares?
I don't think so either.
All right.
No, I mean, do we want our Lord of the Rings to have characters having sex throughout the entire series? I mean, maybe we do. Maybe that will spice things up, but I don't think that's what we want in this series.
I'm told there will be romance and love scenes in future episodes of the show. Almost, I mean, Game of Thrones, when there's sex in Game of Thrones, it's not always normal just romantic sex. It's, something else. But the comments are interesting here. Old Torf 520 says, I tried watching the first episode of Lord of the Rings of Power last night, passed out about halfway. I did too. I'm like, okay, well, it looks better on my television than it did in the theater. The terrible makeup didn't stand out as bad. And then, but it was so slow moving. So slow moving. My God. And Dempsey, thank you for this, Dempsey. Here are the current Rings of Power Rotten Tomato scores. Critics, 84%. Audience, 37%. RK Outpost, shout out to Ryan Cannell, says they are deleting bad reviews. Oh, is that true? Alan,
I don't know. I'm looking at it now, and there's only 5 reviews.
Can you share screen?
Critics.
Share screen. Yeah. And let's go to some more comments here. Thank you for that. Dempsey says, this is a quote, all that is gold does not glitter. Not all those who wander are lost. J.A.R. Tolkien. I figured I would put at least a little of Tolkien's actual words into this. He deserves that much at least. All right. So who do we have? We have Wenlei Ma is a top critic. What does Wenlei Ma say?
It is a visually spectacular series with ambition and scale. You can see every dollar they spent in its impressive high-end production. So she likes the look of the movie, basically.
Well, no one's going to argue it looks good, but is there a compelling story? No. I mean, at least not in the first 2 episodes.
Yeah. So the one negative review here says, when each scene is sealed under a layer of lacquer and gloss, how can any emotion hope to pierce through?
It's true. And it says the first 2 episodes, this is Peter Travers, the first 2 episodes of the costliest series ever are a visual feast plagued by thin characterization and pokey pacing, put breathless excitement and vibrant flesh and blood on the wish list for that final 6 parts. And we just may have something here. It's sort of a mixed review, but it still gets a fresh.
Yeah. But what's common amongst the positive reviews is it looks good. The visuals are amazing.
Yeah, I think even the bad reviews would agree. It's like, oh, it looks amazing. That's not why people watch things. So and then Charles Pulliam Moore from The Verge. What is this? It's rare that a series lives up to its studio's dreams of it feeling like a bingeable TV and like a big, expensive cinematic event. Between a slate of strong performances and an eye for detail, The Rings of Power seems like it could be just that.
Yeah, so
well, he's hopeful.
Yeah, it's a hopeful. I mean, these are basically, they've only seen the first 2 episodes. So
yeah, let's see. A Chernobog for $4.99 says, "Thanks for the Sniper Rogue mission. Now I just have to watch the first 8. Good thing it's a holiday weekend." Oh, that's great. So, we gave away. If you are a member, and thank you Chernobog for being a member. If you're a member, you get additional content. We'll post like other videos and photos of what we're doing. And we do giveaways too. So we just posted 10 digital codes for Sniper Rogue Mission. And it was free. It was like first come, first serve. Throw in the code and, part of your collection. Jamin D for 20. Greetings, Chris and Alan. Question for you both. When did you both start seeing movies in more of an analytical way? And what made you decide about getting into this line? I think it's a good. Let's answer that later we're going to come back to that.
Okay, so I'll keep it starred, by the way.
Keep it starred. Kevin says, I watched the first episode. I thought it couldn't be as bad as you guys said, but I was wrong.
It's even worse. So we were kind, basically.
Yeah, it's even worse. I can totally relate to Alan being done on the first episode. Yeah, Alan. So see, I don't know if we're going to continue to cover it. It really is going to depend on what the audience wants. I mean, there's over 300 people watching, so. I mean, there's nothing at the movie theater until October. Literally between now, I mean, there's a couple things that are interesting. There's a horror movie opening next week called Barbarian that I've seen that I think is quite good, and we'll discuss it. There is a horror film called Smile. A lot of horror movies are coming out, but early October is going to be Black Adam. What's that about? We'll see.
It's got the rock. That's all you need to say.
Yeah. But I understand, like, Alan, like, you're not going to watch it then.
I mean, if we're gonna keep talking about it, I'll watch it. But honestly, I'm not excited. I mean, for some reason, I was really excited about going down the Kenobi rabbit hole, and this one, I'm just not. I'm just not feeling it.
Luther Talbot for 5 and also a member. Thank you. I watched this for the diversity of thought. Keep doing your thing, guys. I appreciate that. Yeah, like this is why I don't understand. Like when Matt Walsh had that movie documentary come out, What is a Woman? We reviewed it on the channel. You can look it up. Just look up What is a Woman on the Film Threat channel. You'll see our review. It was reviewed on the website by a guy named Dante James, who's a freelance writer for us. Dante does a whole bunch of other stuff too, but he's also a friend. We hang out at conventions, and there you go. Dante, great friend. So we had a whole discussion about the film, and people were mad at us just for reviewing the movie. I don't understand what this weird censorship thing is that's happening, but
and it's never
the Instagram thread.
It's never about what we say about the movie. It's the fact that we reviewed the movie.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, like It's also other people are welcome. All the mainstream movie outlets can review the movie and give it a terrible review. They're welcome to do that.
Yeah, I mean, if you put enough, it goes down to 1% on Rotten Tomatoes, and you've accomplished what you wanted to accomplish.
There you go. Mark Hicks says, Elrond, he is not gay, but it wouldn't surprise me if Amazon made him gay. It's true. Yeah, Jack D. Ripper says, why does sexuality matter? It really doesn't. Here's the thing. I don't care. I never thought when I was a kid, like watching movies, I never cared what the sexuality was. It just I didn't like think about it. It wasn't something I thought about. It was just like, I didn't think about, well, what's C-3PO's sexuality? Is C-3PO non-binary? I don't know.
Technically, he's binary, but
Seth Hauk became a member. Thank you for that. Zachary Bloom says the characters in this show are so emotionless and bland. Were they like this in the books? Well, the stories that they're using as the template for this, which they've taken they're being liberal with what they've been given, is from an appendices called the Silmarillion. I only know this because I watch Gary Beekler at the Nerdrotic channel. Go Nerdrotic. He's got a review I'm sure is going to come out today of the first 2 episodes. That guy knows everything about Tolkien. I do not. So, but I'll just say that it's just the appendices of like, well, here are some of the events that occurred and some of the characters and what they were doing before the events that occurred in The Lord of the Rings, right? So this is sort of like, oh, here's some sort of vague like things that happened, in thousands of years before. And so they took those appendices and then they've since they've elaborated quite liberally and turned that into a story. So I don't know if these characters were even in the books, like in that appendices, the Silmarillion. So thank you for your comment, Zachary Bloom. From North Jersey, they are not deleting reviews. They are screening them. Only good ones make it to the site, or no one who has made a negative post about it.
I mean, quite in their defense, I'm only seeing 5 reviews. There's only 5 reviews.
No, those are 5 professional reviews of Rotten Tomatoes critics.
I'm hit because I hit the.
I'm talking about user reviews.
You know what it is? I'm pressing this. I'm pressing the thing, and it's glitching. It's like I'll get some reviews. I'll get certain people reviews. It's not working. If I don't know if they're getting bombarded, but the page is not working in terms of me being able to see who's reviewing the movie.
Well, and I really, this is great that it's weird sometimes you're reviewing something people haven't seen. It always helps when the audience has also been able to participate in this. But let's go through. We're going to continue to go through the Teague for 10. Always great to hear y'all's thoughts. Why do you think people like the Harley Quinn show over She-Hulk? To me, they are both Venture Brothers type spoofs of their respected universes. I don't know. Maybe it's because Harley Quinn is a cartoon. People are maybe more willing to accept ridiculous things that happen in a cartoon, rather than ridiculous things that happen in a live action show. Like, for example, if the Simpsons cartoon show, animated show, was a live action show, they could never get away with saying what they do about religion, politics. You could never do that in a live action show, but somehow people will accept it in an animated show. And I think that's the same thing with the Harley Quinn show. Ridiculous statements and things occur and no one cares because it's animated. Because it doesn't matter, right? It's not, but when it happens in a live action show like She-Hulk, it's like, well, that actually affects the Marvel Cinematic Universe, right? Like, you know, these television Disney Plus Marvel shows are part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And, you know, obviously there were events like in WandaVision that had consequences in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So I think that's why people are more upset about She-Hulk. Great comment, question and comment there. Seth Hulk for 10, thank you for that, and a member. Go to Amazon's Prime Video page. Okay, this makes sense. Go to Amazon Prime's video page. They have deleted every view from last night. There was a 1-star reviews at like 2 a.m. my time this morning. The stars are gone, and it says to be the first one to review this. So maybe go to that page, Alan. Let's.
Yeah, I am. I'm not seeing. I'm not sure I'm on the right page, but I'm not seeing reviews at all on the page.
Oh, nothing on Amazon.
Yeah, I mean, I could show you. You know, it's just a standard page. I don't know if they do post reviews here or comments, but there's nothing. Absolutely nothing.
There's no reviews, but they always do that.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, let me research a little bit more.
Oh man.
Maybe it's the page I'm on, but yeah, there's nothing there.
Cool. All right. Well, there you go. All right, we're gonna.
Oh yeah.
What?
Sorry, I'm showing zero reviews on the
so far.
Yeah, so far they're not posting anything in terms of stars, good or positive, good or bad.
All right, well, there you go. And then Shelby AC says, good on you guys for ignoring the internet bullies. Yeah, hell yeah, fuck them. That's what I say. Fuck them. Fuck them if you can't take a joke. Valerie Walker, that was something very famous quote from Mick Jagger, lead singer of the Rolling Stones. I feel like I need to point that out now. You can't just say Mick Jagger and assume everybody knows what you're talking about. Mick Jagger, lead singer of the Rolling Stones. Famous quote of his that I learned as a kid and loved. He said, fuck them if they can't take a joke. We posted a picture of a poster. Fuck off. Yeah. Jesus.
So that's the Mick Jagger of Moves Like Jagger?
Yeah. Valerie Walker, thank you. Your channel is quickly becoming one of my favorite movie news new channel I have been watching since your Oscar live stream. Well, thank you for that. We've almost broke 1,000 on that Oscar night. We had like over 900 people watching. We almost, I don't know. Look, I still have no idea how YouTube works. If anyone could tell me, please let me know. But thank you, Valerie, for your comment. Luther Talbert, a member, kids aren't taught to critically think, but instead to demand everything be their way. Yeah, it's weird sort of entitlement. Like, do what I want. Like the character from Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, Master Blaster. Master is the little person that's on the top of the head of, Blaster, right? The strong man, which is this sort of childlike face when it's revealed. Do what I want. Yeah, that's what I always think.
Yeah, I've always believed that when your opinions are challenged, you come out a better person in the end.
Exactly. And the fact that the mainstream media like ignored all the Hunter Biden stuff is kind of disgusting, if you ask me.
Yeah, or a certain pandemic we went through. The fact that
there's a lot we could discuss. Let's talk about movies and TV shows. Santos says this down with the patriarchy doesn't work with Tolkien. Yeah, it's right from the first scene, Santos. Mm-hmm. It's right from the first scene. So young Galadriel builds a boat. She builds this little, and it's a swan, right? Going from an ugly piece of paper to blooming as a swan in this going down this little stream, right? And of course she does this, and look, it's floating. And then of course the boys are throwing rocks at it to sink the boat, which would probably happen in real life. Yeah, why not? Who cares? It's just a stupid boat. But it's so on the nose. And then her brother gives her this whole speech that was so long-winded. Every scene, this is what I felt. I'm going to read the rest of your comment in a second. Every scene goes on twice as long as it should. It was some of those scenes were just insufferable. Like I go like, well, what's the takeaway from that scene? Like, it's like they needed it. It's like they kind of like, like, okay, I'm going to admit this. When I was in college in high school and we were tasked with writing an essay, I would get long-winded to fill the page. Okay. We've all done it. You sit down to write an essay and you're just rambling. And that's what a lot of the scenes in the Rings of Power felt like. They were rambling, like, and the takeaway from this, and the point is what? But Santos says this: down with the patriarchy doesn't work with Tolkien. Every man is introduced by the name of his father. Frodo, son of Drogo. Aragorn, son of Arathorn. Aragorn, son of Arathorn, etc. So Lord of the Rings is essentially patriarchal. Yeah.
Yeah. Which was much like that time.
Yeah. So
the other thing about Galadriel is whatever happened to femininity.
Yes.
It's masculinity is toxin. So are we ashamed of femininity? Is that the deal?
Yeah.
I don't. This is the discussion that I'd like to have one day. Is what is the place of femininity in this society today, and is this a good or positive trait? Just like masculinity is clearly a negative trait nowadays.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just, you know what I miss? And like going to the movies, it feels weird now when you go to the movies and you say, oh my gosh, that's a heterosexual couple on screen. Or you're like, oh my gosh, that's a woman and she's dressed in an attractive way that highlights certain attributes. But they're perfectly willing to make the male characters in the Marvel Universe sex objects. In the first episode of She-Hulk, talking about Captain America's ass, or talking about Captain America's virginity, or stripping Thor completely naked in front of everyone when Zeus flicked too much in Thor: Love and Thunder. Like, so I actually don't mind them doing that to Thor. What I'm saying is, all right, let's see Black Widow looking hot. Let's see some of the female characters look sexy. They're desexualizing a lot of characters. And it's, you even see like,
well, I think it's a pendulum swing. We've mentioned this many times, but this year, 2022, we've seen more penises on screen than we have boobs.
First of all, we need a t-shirt with a quote from Alan Ing. I have seen more penises on screen
than boobs
this year. John Manalang, adversity builds character. I believe it. That is, first of all, it's true in storytelling. That is also true in real life. Some of the biggest challenges that I've faced in my life, I've gone through a lot of them. I was in the room when my father passed away. He was in hospice. I slept in a chair all weekend. It was not an easy thing to go through. It was like an out-of-body experience. That was rough. And the kind of adversity, when I look at, like, I almost went doing Film Threat in the late 90s, almost went bankrupt. I had all this debt. It was nuts, but I survived it. And then I learned the lesson. The whole thing is it's like, this is why video games are kind of an allegory for life. Like, you're going to keep running up against the same problem until you beat that boss or defeat this character or get past this level. Because it's all about, like, okay, I went through these steps. I failed. I have to do something different. Okay. And John Manalang, thank you. That is,
well, I mean, movies used to be based on that a character, something bad happened to that character, and their character was then built because they got through whatever challenge they had to face.
Glanuccio in the background here, producing and modding, working hard on a Friday afternoon. Thank you, Glenn. Subscribe to Glanuccio's channel. Almost 400 watching. Headbutt that like button. I do appreciate that. So yeah, it's we're living in a weird time right now. Kenny Kanthak, grow some thick skin if you're gonna be online. And Kenny for 10 coming back with a comment. Happy Friday, Chris and Alan. Thank you for keeping it real. If people gonna be online, you need some thick skin. Yeah, it's
like She-Hulk thick skin.
Yeah, you got to be strong like She-Hulk. It's not what you meant, I'm sure. But I'm just saying it's just a poster for a movie. And if you look at the other 1,100 things that we posted, I think that speaks for itself. So there you go. A Night for $4.99. Great book if interested is The Righteous Mind by Jonathan Haidt. I'm familiar with Jonathan Haidt. Didn't he write the book The Coddling of the American Mind, or something about the coddling of American something with the word coddling in it? Anyways, I've seen Jonathan. He's been on Bill Maher's show. I have seen him being interviewed on YouTube, and he is amazing. He has a lot to say about the adverse effects of social media. But great book if interested, The Righteous Mind by Jonathan Haidt, on psychology of politics by an expert in the field. So there you go. People who want to censor art are always on the wrong side of history. Phil W., I'm probably going to post that. As a friend of mine, Phil, said, people who want to censor art are always on the wrong side of history.
Absolutely.
I am going to. So, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to type myself a note, and I'm going to actually post that on Instagram.
Yeah, I grew up evangelical, and I will tell you, we were into censorship. I remember the whole Last Temptation of Christ debate or boycott that we went through. And by the way, the Jonathan Haidt book, it's called The Coddling of the American Mind: How Good Intentions and Bad Ideas Are Setting Up a Generation for Failure.
Yeah, interesting. All right, we got so many good comments. Spaceman, happy birthday, Chris. As someone who turned 60 this year, I give my eye teeth for that hair. The Great Recession began for me in my 20s. Have a great day. Well, that's great for you, Spaceman. I feel you. I started getting like silver hair when I was 19 years old. So I thought I would look like Steve Martin by now. It also depends on where the light is. Sometimes it looks white. Sometimes it looks a little silver. I don't know. It's weird. So there you go. Dude, 30 years ago, we had a slew of female-led action stars, and everybody loved it. No controversy. Uma Thurman, Angelina Jolie, Kate Beckinsale, not to mention the 70s. Hell yeah. So I don't understand, I feel like what I don't like is something like Hawkeye, and then the Hawkeye Disney Plus Marvel show turns out to be not about Hawkeye. It's about sort of the female.
About Kate, yeah.
About Kate, who's going to basically take over. Like that I object to. But like She-Hulk being about She-Hulk doesn't, I don't know. I feel like there is kind of a knee-jerk reaction now to dislike it immediately and to really sort of like find the line, like, it's terrible because of this line. Well, then you're going to hate everything, I mean, even the best stuff has some, well, not really. I mean, the best stuff is like Back to the Future, a perfect movie, or Jaws. We'll talk about Jaws in a little bit, right before LIN SHAYE comes on. But yeah, Andrew Eterno, thank you for your comment. Love that. And Ken Bogus, Alan keeping track of penis for all of humanity. Thank you,
I
Ken.
think that's an eggplant.
Well, eggplant, isn't eggplant just sort of like code for penis now? Isn't that what it is? Fear the Turtle 21 for 5. Been binging Supernatural, and there is a surprising amount of non-PC stuff in it, even in later seasons, and I love it. Bring that time back. Yeah, when people didn't care about being politically correct, it was much better. And
it was a breath of fresh air at times.
Yeah, and now it's like we're being the film threat's being called out for posting a poster telling you a movie is coming out. Fuck you. Jesus. Where are we come here? Justin Simone, Star Wars Marvel purist. If that's what makes Raimi's Spider-Man 2 such a great superhero movie, Peter Parker Spidey is beaten down in every way possible in that movie, and his life is in shambles. He perseveres. See, I like that. I like a character. Peter Parker, I think there's a reason Spider-Man is the most popular character in the Marvel universe. He's definitely the most. Spider-Man is number one when it comes to licensing. So this is how they rate, like, when it comes to licensing. That's t-shirts, toys, name anything you can buy that has Spider-Man on it. Spider-Man is number one in terms of licensing. That's a good way it's a good barometer to show like what characters are popular. Second, easy guess. Second is Batman.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard Stan Lee talk about it, but Peter Parker was a high school student.
Yeah.
And that was highly relatable to the people who read Spider-Man because they were high school students. They were teenagers.
And not just that. He has problems. He has a terrible boss. His love life is not the easiest thing to manage, okay? Mm-hmm. He fails a lot. Even when he does good, he's seen as bad. So as Spider-Man, he saves the day, but in the newspapers, he's a menace. Spider-Man is a menace.
Well, what would be interesting is D23 has a full panel dedicated to Spider-Man, and we'll see if they get any of that, or if they kind of go on the woke end of things to talk about.
Well, I think we've moved on from Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. Alan, you are refusing to watch it.
No, I'm not refusing to. If we want to continue on down the path, I will continue to watch it. I won't enjoy it, but who knows? Who knows? Maybe, unlike She-Hulk, maybe it gets better and great.
Well, episodes come out on Thursdays. So we could talk about it every Friday morning. We'll talk about the new episode, but we're not going to spend as much time on it. We did our whole 2-hour live stream. We talked about it for nearly an hour, along with some other topics. I think we should pivot now. I'm
just saying, if it gets repetitive, I think that's when the problem comes. If the complaints just are the same each week.
Well, it's slow moving and it's kind of directionless. And this thing with the Harfoots and the stranger. Who is the stranger? Anyone care to guess? I'm saying it's Dumbledore. Kidding. When I was coming out of the theater after having seen it, I said, Dumbledore's not even in this. I just said that very loudly and nobody laughed.
Honestly, I think it's Magneto.
Is it Magneto? That it's not Magneto. No, I mean, is it Gandalf? I don't know. Is it Gandalf? Is it Sauron? Who is the stranger who, basically emerged fine out of some asteroid that flew across? We saw all the characters sort of turn their eye to the skies as this flaming meteor crashed near the Harfoots, and the young female Frodo. I'm just going to call her female Frodo. What's her name?
Have no Poppy or something? Is it
Poppy?
I have no idea. I don't really want to look it up.
I always got the sense that hobbits were really chill and were like stoners. Like they were into weed.
Yeah, they're into ale. They're into ale and they're into weed.
They like to party and they're fun. It's so weird. Just a couple more quick comments before we pivot here. But on Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, compare the hobbits in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, right? Fellowship of the Ring, Two Towers. There's something when there's this world building that Peter Jackson does, where you get into the world of the hobbits, not just like how they live, where they live, all the different characters. There's that one husband and wife where the wife kind of like, the husband looks like he's happy to see Gandalf. Then he sees that the wife doesn't approve, and then he changes his expression. There's something like whimsical and fun, and not a lot happens in the beginning, but what he's doing is world building. And he's showing like, look how delightful and beautiful this and idyllic this life is. Sure, there are other share of challenges, but it's not something that you can't overcome. And then, Frodo is tasked with going on an adventure with Gandalf, and they have a mission, and their very existence and world is at stake. I don't know what the stakes are, and I don't know what the story is, and we're 2 episodes in.
I know.
That's a problem.
That is a serious problem. Because I mean, that's why it's like, why should I? Why are you telling me I need to keep watching this? And you're basically saying, hey, look, just get to the end. You know, you'll get it. And it's like, no, you've got to sell me on episode 1.
Yeah. So yeah, and when Elrond like basically goes to the land of the dwarves to hire him as a building contractor, that's what he's doing. He's going there like, oh, I have this whole world I want to build. I know who can build it. The dwarves will let me go there and hire them as building contractors. This is a storyline, folks. This is a real story. I mean, if you break it down, I love when people like, there'll be these like Twitter threads, or sometimes you'll see where someone like, you just break a story down to its essence of what it's about. Have you seen those? And then at the end, you put hilarity ensues, you know? Like, you know, you take like a very simple film like The Wizard of Oz or whatever, and you just sort of like explain like the plot in one sentence. And it's just, Elrond is going to hire a building contractor. That's what's happening. And that actually is, and what's so funny, Elrond going to hire the building contractor, the dwarves, is the best scene in the whole 2 episodes because it's funny and it's whimsical.
Yeah. And it's also, you know, what they're building or what they want to build. You know, this is not a good thing that they're going to build. Yeah. It's too predictable in that case. You know, now we're going down a road that we know that they're going down, and there's no mysteries.
Shucksy, fun in modern entertainment. Keep dreaming, Chris. My favorite theory about the stranger is that he might be the Balrog. They were the same type of creatures as the wizards once, but corrupted. This could be that form, says John Wilbecker. And good to have you back, John. I appreciate it. Look, we are going to continue to keep with it. I'm going to watch it. Al, I'm not going to tell you to watch it.
I'll watch it. I'll watch it.
You watch a lot of stuff. Oh, wow. Adrian Curry is in our chat. Adrian Curry for 20. Thank you, Adrian. You didn't have to do that. You did not have to do that. Adrian Curry is such a sweet soul. She was on Timcast with Tim Pool because she watches that show. And I thought, like, wait, Adrian Curry, you're in the chat there? Love to see you on FNT at some point. Adrian Curry says, happy birthday, Dilver Fox. I love your dynamic with each other and your positivity, even when talking about everything we love being destroyed. Well, we have to have fun doing it. But Adrian, thank you for that. Thank you for that, Adrian. She is amazing. Follow Adrian on social media. She's sort of crawling out and kind of looking around and going, oh, it's still a shit show. Like I just last night, I always post this thing. Every few months, I post a thing about Ming the Merciless, just to remind people that Ming the Merciless kept all the kingdoms of Mongo fighting amongst each other, basically to distract from him, you know, his dictatorial rule. I just like to do that sort of in timely places. Thank you, Adrian. You're a sweetheart. Or rather, birthday week. Thank you for that. Adrian is great. This is funny. I wish Prime had 1.5 speed, says Tertiary Adjunct. Great. Phil W. for 5 says, happy early birthday, Chris. Thanks for all that you and Alan do. Well, thank you for that. That's great. A Knight is back with a comment for $9.99. You know how to fix the She-Hulk rant? Make it a bonding moment where directly afterwards, Banner describes the abuse he received from father, and She-Hulk finally understand where his rage comes from. Yeah, it was, but here's my theory on that. She's kind of a complaining bitch, right? We're being introduced to her character. Tony Stark, when we met Tony Stark, was a selfish asshole who slept around and didn't care about anyone else's feelings. And over the course of the films, Tony Stark became a selfless hero, sacrificing his own life to save the world. I think what they may be doing is setting up She-Hulk for a character arc. The problem with television shows, this is the problem with all the Disney Plus series, there's really not a lot of character development. There's not much of a character journey in any of these shows. And in particular, sitcoms, the trope of a sitcom is they all kind of end up where they started. Does that make sense, Alan?
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to go, I mean, Cheers, it went how many seasons? 15 seasons. And they didn't really change a whole lot over those 15 years.
You don't have to watch a sitcom in order necessarily. It's like, oh, here's the A story, here's the B story. And by the end, Jack Tripper will still be living with 2 girls and pretend to be gay. So there you go.
Yeah. Friends, the exact same thing.
Yeah. So there you go. Thank you, A Knight. And I get it. I get why people were upset. I think that her speech is fine from her point of view. Makes sense to me. And it was an opportunity for Bruce Banner to explain, like, and he was like trying to, we talked about it, and this is going to sound very sexist, but if you ever try to, like, if a woman comes to you with like, here's a problem I'm having, and this is a dynamic between men and women, like how our brains work. Women want to be heard and they just want to like vent, right? And men are like, well, I'm just going to try to solve your problem, which is what Bruce was trying to do. It's like, I'm just going to, here's how you do this. I wrote this whole book. She just resisted all of that, you know? And it's, if there's a book years ago, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, that kind of explains the dynamic between men and women. I thought it illustrated that. But I think what they're doing is they're setting up She-Hulk to have an arc where she will appear in the movies, and that's where character development will occur. But they're almost allowing no character development in any of these Marvel Disney Plus series. So, but thank you for that. Great comments.
Yeah. I mean, I think Loki is a great example of, it was all plot and narrative driven. Loki didn't necessarily change other than the fact that he made out with his alternate self.
Phil W says, happy early birthday. Thanks. I think I read that one.
I know there's a similar one. So
Phil W again for 99 says, Chris, thanks for answering my email regarding a Justice League fan edit. I'm still working on it. Can't wait to share it when it's done. Not asking for notes. I just want to share it with the masses. I love fan edits of things. Love them. So please send it my way. And Adrian Curry says, optimistic AF. That's me. I'm like the eternal optimist, but I'm willing to be like I'm wrong, right? Like all the Disney Plus series I've disliked, here I am with She-Hulk going like, I kind of like this. It's stupid. It's fun. It's good. Not great. It's good. And then, and I was surprised I liked it. And I was optimistic. Here's how optimistic I was. I thought after The Last Jedi that The Rise of Skywalker was going to stick the landing. I thought there's a reason they're doing all of this. There's a plan. And the ending is going to be, and it was the worst thing ever. And I fucking hate the Star Wars sequels. So I'm an optimist to a point. And then once I kind of see, because I'm willing to give the benefit of the doubt, right? Just going to give you the benefit of the doubt. And there you go. Thank you, Adrian. And George Molo for $49.99. Thank you. Found Galadriel to have two modes, either Ms. Mary Sue Maxi Pad or Kickball Karen shouting at the referee. Love Film Threat. All hail Chris and Alan. George, we got to have you back. We do our Wednesday show in the afternoons. Maybe George could come on and chat with us. Yeah. On Wednesday.
I think Grace Randolph was saying similar things too.
Really? Oh, that's right. She said she was like a Karen and the Mary Sue, which is, I think, completely accurate. Completely accurate. Thank you, George, for that. That's awesome. Not the Batman. For me, Film Threat is like when I used to buy Cinefex back in the day. I love Cinefex. I used to read that magazine. I still have some on my bookshelves. I actually have bookshelves. And John Waters has a great comment about books. He says, if you meet someone and you go to their house, like you're on a date, you meet someone and you go to their house and they don't have books, don't fuck them. It's a great quote from, he's basically just saying if someone doesn't read books, they're not very smart, you shouldn't fuck them, which I agree with John Waters. I like women who read books. I think it's hot. Women who read books is hot. I think glasses is hot. All right, enough said.
I know there are whole porn categories based.
I don't
on
get to. Yeah. there are, Alan.
Yeah,
what other categories?
Go to one of your porn sites. Look up bookworm.
Is bookworm a category? I just wonder how so many women keep getting stuck in dryers. All right, for me, Film Threat is like when I used to buy Cinefex back in the day, learning about how movies are made with great interviews, articles, and pictures. Freaking love Chris and Alan. Thank you for that, Spaceman.
Honestly, really Starlog was my magazine, my go-to magazine.
I love Starlog. I read Famous Monsters of Filmland. Of course, Forey Ackerman. I got to go to his house, Forey Ackerman. That's a story for another time. Lubitsch touched me for 2. Can't have Adrian calling me out. Oh no, is there something going on in the chat? Adrian Curry, anyone who doesn't super chat, Alan and Chris are admitting they love the Rings of Power more than the Fellowship.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Adrian. Oh, that's so great.
It's so true. It's so true.
Yeah, it's true. You love the Rings of Power. Jedi Shredder for $4.99. Purely trying to avoid being labeled as favoring Rings of Power over Lord of the Rings per Adrian. Love the channel. Thanks, and keep up the great work. That's great. Well, just a quick reminder. At 11, the top of the hour, about an hour from now, LIN SHAYE is going to be joining us. LIN SHAYE, the actress, she has been in so many movies, and we're going to be talking about a documentary that she is in, and which I watched.
The Horror Crowd. It's The Horror Crowd.
The Horror Crowd. Such a good doc. Super fun. I know pretty much everybody in that doc, oddly. Let's see. Oh, wait. There was a comment from Retro Nerd Girl. I just unfavorited it. Can you get that? I'm going to go to the super chats here real quick, but let's pivot our banner here.
Okay, I got it. It's there.
No, wait, we got to talk about episode 3, right? Is that it?
Yes.
All right, let's get some She-Hulk action here. We're gonna talk about that, but we're getting like way too many super chats here. Retro Nerd Girl.
Don't say that.
What?
Don't say we're getting way
too many super chats. No. We just don't. We never had to do a square up thing, so we're gonna prioritize those. I'm sorry. Retro Nerd Girl says, I agree with you, Chris. She-Hulk is setting up a character arc. You can really tell that after the end of episode 3 when she fends off the attackers. Bruce's warnings about her power ring true. Yeah, I mean, I don't expect there to be a character arc during the series. I think there are 9 episodes. Is that correct? 9 episodes.
I believe so. Yeah.
She-Hulk.
Yeah, it's 9.
9 episodes of She-Hulk. We'll see. My feeling is I've observed that they kind of save character arc payoffs for the movies. Okay, so I see that most of the character. I see these Disney Plus Marvel series as kind of like the prequel comics or the inconsequential events that occur between movies. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Inconsequential events that occur between movies.
I will say that, this idea that she's an empowered woman, she has to figure out how to get through whatever calamity happens her way. When she gets mugged, it dawns on her, oh, I've got superpowers. There's a level of growth there. She's not the, hey, here's the court case. And she just doesn't stand there and say, hey, I know how to do it. She has to figure it out. And I think that's the joy. That's the connection we have, because that's life. We have to figure things out.
She's a flawed female character. Since when have we seen a flawed female character in the Marvel Universe? All the female characters that have been introduced, say, post Captain Marvel, have been the bestest ever, have been awesomer than all the male characters. And they don't need anyone to tell them what to do. And, She-Hulk does that same thing, but I'm trying to explain that dynamic. If you've read that book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, tries to explain the male-female dynamic as men want to fix things, women want to be heard. Mm-hmm. Women want to be loved, men want to be respected. And we got to work on trying to give our partner what they need. And sometimes what they need is not what's instinctively, because for me, it's like, oh, there's a I'm just going to go fix it. Especially if it's like a house problem. I'm very handy around the house. I've put up screen doors. I've assembled grills. I've changed the oil in my car and motorcycle. I know how to do stuff, folks. I know how to do stuff. And a lot of me doing stuff is to avoid being nagged, right? I don't want to be nagged. I'm just like, let's go. I'm going to throw on a podcast. I'm going to be listening to my podcast in peace. I might crack open some adult beverage, and I'm going to do the task. And then that task is done. So it really is the male female dynamic. And yes, people are trying to like it doesn't apply to everybody. There are relationships that are non-traditional, fine, but generally this is true. So look up that book.
Yeah, something happens to her in the 4th episode that to me felt like, well, a woke story would never let this happen to her. And
yeah, it's definitely by the 4th story. Yeah, there's some stuff that people are going to look at. I mean, it's definitely feminist, but a kind of old school feminist, like old school from like Mary Tyler Moore, which no one remembers but me, or Ally McBeal, or Boston Legal, or any workplace drama / comedy. It's kind of that. I will say this: Paul Chato had a great criticism. Shout out to him. Go to Call Me Chato. Shout out to Paul Chato and his channel. He pointed out something that was really an astute observation. He said that there should be better supporting characters. She has that,
absolutely.
And there are not enough supporting characters where they have their own storylines and they're likable. Whether
like
they're
her best friend, the paralegal. I mean, she's nice, but I don't know much about that character.
And
I don't understand why they're friends necessarily, and what they offer each other as friends.
So if anything, the show has failed to produce, and thank you, Albatrax89, for becoming a member. It needs more supporting characters. Brock Samsonite, if any of that were true, Jen would learn a lesson each episode and it will return to baseline at the end of each episode, and it doesn't. Yeah, but it's sort of like the philosophy, like Larry David when he was doing Seinfeld. His thing was to go against that, which is, these characters learn nothing. These characters learn nothing. In fact, they're just the same asshole at the end of the show as they were at the beginning. So I don't know.
I will say in this episode, she learns a benefit when she's mugged. She learns a benefit of being a superhero and this newfound power from it. In the 4th episode, she finds a negative about being a superhero. I'll leave it at that.
And by the way, Jen's fears of being literally murdered. I live just outside of Los Angeles. That's happening. That's happening. A woman who was an Olympic athlete was recently accosted. Some vagrant threw a rock at her head and hit her in the head. Forget the woman. You can look it up. She posted on Instagram her injuries. This is Los Angeles.
It's pretty bad. It was pretty bad.
I've said it before. Los Angeles is turned into a crime-ridden Gotham City, but there's no Batman. Adrian, you got out while the getting out was good. It is horrific. Now, I am nestled in peaceful Pasadena. It's pretty chill here. And yeah, we're not experiencing those problems, but thank you for that comment, Brock. I'm going to go to the super chat comments here. Phil W for $4.99. She-Hulk has fallen far from the tree of the Bill Bixby Hulk show back in the late 70s.
I think we've all fallen far from
it. Lou Ferrigno, what a waste of a character. I respect your comment. Said no one ever. It was not about woke or feminist hatred. It was just bad writing and terrible CGI from top to bottom. Just my humble opinion.
Yeah, I will say the CGI in this episode is horrendous.
It's
Jen in an office suit. It looks like a tiny head on a Mr. Fantastic body.
That's funny. But look, I'm enjoying the show. I thought it's good. I think it's good, not great. And I know I respect your opinion. That's why when I'm seeing all the reviews that are bad, I'm like, oh, that's a good point. Yeah. It's sort of like, look, you can totally rip apart the Toxic Avenger. I'm still going to love that movie. The first Toxic Avenger, made by Troma Films. Okay. It's weird, and it's bad parts of it. And it's terrible makeup on the Toxic Avenger. I still enjoy myself every time I watch that movie.
Yeah, I mean,
so thank you.
We've said it before, but I think She-Hulk is the best Disney Plus Marvel series. But at the same time, that's somewhat of a backhanded compliment.
It is. It's like that's. I think you and I both said that it's the best Disney Plus Marvel series, and the bar is very low. because at least knows what it is and is working. And I like that it's 25 minutes.
Yeah.
You know,
and they're, you know, I feel like they're returning to better storytelling than they had with the other series.
Right. And it doesn't mean that there's not bad writing. Paul Chato also did another thing where he broke down like what's missing. And this applies to almost all modern writing and entertainment. Writers don't know how to do subtext. Paul Chato has done videos about this. So go to his Call Me Chato channel, which is blowing up. He's a former TV executive, and we're going to get him on the show one of these days. We're going to get him on the show just to chat live. But Want Biscuit says, Larry David also forbid all sentimental moments on Seinfeld, but She-Hulk is no Seinfeld, not even close. Oh my God, I would never have suggested that. Seinfeld is freaking brilliant. And Curb Your Enthusiasm, awesome. I mean, there's seasons that are better than others. But yeah, Want Biscuits agree.
So is it better than Full House?
Yeah, and then thank God I'm a guy and never have to worry about getting murdered, says Shucksy. Dude, okay, exactly. I don't go to certain parts of LA at night. I don't go, okay? I'm just like, yeah, like a friend of mine wants me to go to this bar in downtown LA tonight to meet up, and I'm not going to go. Like, no, I don't know where I'm going to park. Shitty neighborhood. No, thank you. So, no, it's true. Yeah, I didn't. Not saying it doesn't mean that isn't also true. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. And thank you, Michael Gaskin, for becoming a YouTube member. Check out the members tab for a whole bunch of stuff. We got to post some more things in there, Alan.
Yeah. I'm a little behind.
A week from today, by the way, Alan will be at D23. He is going to be live on the floor from D23 during our Friday show. And then he's going to be posting things in our members only from D23. Alan, your goal is to get in the room when they announce the cast of the Fantastic Four. Yeah,
I'm definitely, if I have to stand in a very long line, or if I can get press access, I will do that. The other thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to see if Walt Disney makes an appearance anywhere at D23. Because I feel like they've literally put him on ice, and we'll see if he shows up.
And Amanda Nowicki says, I didn't understand the extra scene at the end of She-Hulk episode 3. What was the point of it?
Twerking was the point.
It's just to be funny. I think it's just a funny button. One of my favorite post-credit scenes in a Marvel movie was it the second Spider-Man film? Spider-Man, I always get those No Way Home.
Which Spider-Man are you talking about?
Spider-Man movie with the word home in it is it? But it's the one where like Captain America, he's on like that TV screen. They kind of had the cart in there. He's like, so you're in detention. Like,
oh yeah.
That was hilarious. And it was
the educational video.
It's just to be funny. I just think that also Amanda, I know you're asking that question. Like there is no point to it except to be funny. And I feel like that's okay. I feel like now we're I feel like some of the criticisms of She-Hulk is like taking a microscope to like every single detail. I'm like, did we used to do that to all the old? I mean,
it's like, here's why this joke didn't work. And then therefore this show.
And I get it.
Yeah.
It's fine. I just think that, this is the same studio that made the Marvel movies you did like is making Marvel, TV shows and movies you don't like. And I think they're going through a slump. After Endgame, I feel like there was no plan except to introduce a lot of female characters. And I don't know how well that's going over. And
I want to see big superhero booty. So
that's... Poopa Chalupa for 5. I hope I got that right, Poopa Chalupa. Yeah. The Bible tells men to love their wife and women to respect their husband. Men and women receive love differently. It's only taken me, half a century to figure that out.
Yeah.
I'm old, man.
Bible's been around a lot longer than that. I'm just saying.
But exactly. What I'm saying is you are absolutely right, Poopa Chalupa. It's men and women do receive love differently. You have to figure out that dynamic to have a working relationship. And it's also respect is a huge part of it too. Respect. So, thank you for that. Dempsey, another point about the speech from She-Hulk. She is able to have those selfish thoughts because of the sacrifices of Hulk and his friends. She was sheltered from the real problems by Hulk. Absolutely, yeah. But I think that, like, this is why I like Tatiana Maslany as this character, Jen Walters. She's flawed, and I don't think we've seen, correct me if I'm wrong. I think if you've learned anything from having conversations here, look, I'll call myself out if I was wrong about something, or my opinion can change. Certainly it changed about WandaVision, which started out great and then just was awful by the end. But none of the new female characters since the introduction of Captain Marvel have been interesting in the least, because they've all been perfect and the bestest ever. And they've been confronted with problems, but none of those problems came from themselves. Right? I mean, I guess you could say Wanda turning evil if you think about it, Vision was effectively, Vision's not alive. Is Vision alive? They ever? Vision's a robot.
Vision was kind of the Data of the series. He had hangups that way, but in terms of, in the case of WandaVision, he was pretty much the unwitting puppet of Wanda, and I think that's what I appreciate about that character arc, was the fact that he finally realized he was being played by the woman he loved.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that, Dempsey. But yeah, I don't know. When you look at all the female characters, they've just been awesome and better than the male characters. Although Kate kind of looked up to Hawkeye.
Yeah, Wanda was incredibly flawed. That was the whole point of WandaVision, was that she caused this. And then even though there was Agatha in the background kind of motivating her, the problem Wanda had carried itself into Doctor Strange.
Yep. Flem, what happens in She-Hulk is considered canon in the MCU. That's why it has more weight behind it. Yeah. As opposed to the Harley Quinn cartoon, which it doesn't affect the movies.
Yeah.
Right. The events in She-Hulk definitely affect the movies.
Well, and I think that's why they're giving her the Abomination and soon Wong as clients. That they're not the top tier characters, and so they're not going to affect the overall MCU in terms of story and universe.
Right. Dempsey, some of these people think that feminine equals weak, and that just isn't true. Yes, I can attest to that. I have 3 sisters, had a very strong single mom who raised me, and yeah, feminine does not equal weak. There you go. And Christopher Miller says, happy birthday, Chris. Celebrate by poop. Get out your poop book, Chris. I have some here. If you send me a large enough self-addressed stamped envelope, I'll send you a copy of my book. It's called Celebrities Poop. It is a parody of the book Everyone Poops, written by Taro Gomi, which is one of the best-selling children's books of all time. You can buy it on Amazon. I believe you can buy this book on Amazon. But also, if you send me a large enough envelope, I'll send you a copy. I'll even sign it. You should keep this book. Keep it in the bathroom. Keep it in the bathroom. I don't even know if I should show this on screen.
Oh my gosh.
Should I show this on screen? All right, I'm gonna show that on screen.
Oh, you.
Oh no. Oh no. That's awful. All right.
Yeah, by the way, Celebrities Poop
strike on the channel. What?
Celebrities Poop is on Audible.
It's on Audible.
Yeah.
It's an Audible. You can get the Audible version of the book, which includes an accompanying song. That's not a lot. It includes a song that accompanies it. I think I might even have the song on here. Do I? I don't have it here.
No, I think it's funny because I'm looking at I put Celebrities Poop in Amazon, and I'm getting a lot of really cool stuff that's not your book.
Darn it. Dang it.
No, your book comes up first. I'm just saying the other results are quite.
We missed this one. Bert for 5 says top 3 Rings of Power moments. 1, Elrond and Prince Durin's exchanges. Yeah, literally 2 guys talking, no special effects. 2 guys talking with his wife. We should get I forget her name.
Disa.
Princess Disa. She turned out to be as insufferable as the interviews that the actress did. The character's actually entertaining. The character is likable. 2, Elrond's introduction. And 3, seeing the visuals as they approach Valinor, the Undying Lands. Yeah, you're gonna have 2 hours of content. You're gonna have a couple moments that'll be decent. So They were. Victor Fontaine, I just want She-Hulk to get naked and jump rope just like in the comics.
I think we read that one. Yeah.
That might happen. That might happen. I do think that what's interesting, there is a moment which hasn't happened in the first 4 episodes where she goes out, she's wearing a dress, and people are commenting on how good she looks in the dress. It's like, yeah, it's like women should be able to be sexy in the Marvel universe. Okay.
Yeah, I think the bigger point was she didn't want to get, she wanted her notoriety to come from herself and not from the fact that she was She-Hulk. And I think that's another struggle she has in this show.
Adrian Curry, who's a member. Thank you, Adrian. And I miss Adrian. She's such a giving soul. But back when Adrian lived in Los Angeles, she was so kind. She would have like a sort of Christmas Eve gathering where people would get together. She'd serve food. It was just like a bunch of people from the nerd community. What happened to all those people? They all went their separate ways, I guess. But Adrian got out of LA when the Getting Out was good. So I feel pretty comfortable. And Pasadena doesn't feel like LA at all. Pasadena feels like the Midwest, and it's like Orange County. But Adrian says men need praise for the manly things they do. It helps them puff their chests and feel like the leader of the pack. Women need validation for their feelings, regardless if you think we are insane. I've learned that. I have learned you have to be patient, and you have to kind of be in tune to what your partner's needs are, right? Like, what do they need? Well, they need me to just kind of listen, you know?
Yeah. Just shut up. That's the big one.
That's
the one I've heard so many times.
Okay, just shut up. By the way, that is a challenge for me, is to just be quiet. As Alan well knows. Alan knows, I
think the entire chat knows too.
Said no one ever. Is Amber Heard's poop in that book? I don't know. Is Amber Heard in the book? I don't think so, but I know that Michael Moore's in the book, Oprah's in the book, Justin Bieber, Trump is in the book. It's just Howard Stern is in the book. It's just for fun. I just did it as a goof. Thank you, said no one ever. Foz, very honest, but you need to be flawed in interesting ways, not just an asshole. Sorry, she's not likable. That's fine. But I feel like Tony Stark is a likable asshole. He's an asshole. Can women be kind of bitchy and be likable? Like, maybe. I don't know. I think,
Yeah. And I think there's merit to the idea that Marvel's been putting out such mediocre work that maybe when they do something slightly right, it exponentially feels like they're doing great.
Poopa Chalupa says, looks like Amazon pooping on Tolkien. And Patrick Lemire says, here's the bottom line. Is She-Hulk good enough to make a consumer pick up D+? No. I would not subscribe to Disney Plus just for She-Hulk. I bought a subscription at D23 3 years ago, and I paid in advance for 3 years because Mandalorian was coming, all these things.
It was a good deal too.
It was a good deal. It was really cheap. It was like $3 a month or something. It was crazy. So I just was like, I'm going to just get this deal. And so I'm kind of stuck with it. Like, I just have it. And so there we go. And now we know why Chris talks so much. He grew up in a house full of women, says VDR. First of all, that's true. There's I feel like this is like a weird thing I've said to friends of mine before. I was raised by women, but I mean that saying that like I was raised by wolves. And so also I feel like I know how to talk to women in the sense that I can translate what men are doing. And it's mostly like, oh yeah, that guy's an asshole. You're wasting your time. So I know, like, I kind of feel like because I had like my mom, 3 sisters, 2 aunts. And the 3 sisters was like, I had a sister that was from my mother and father. I have a stepsister and I have a half sister. So I have every kind of sister you can have. So, that's why I talk. Maybe that's why I talk a lot, but also like, I feel like I have maybe an understanding or an insight, but it's not a superpower. I can tell you that.
See, I grew up in a household of men. I now live in a household of women. And now that my kid is starting high school, now boys are starting to come around, and now I've got to deal with that.
Well, all you need, Alan, is a gun. And
yeah,
make sure it's like on a rack. And when the boys come over, you're very cold to them. I'm just assuming. Adrian Curry says Alan is the perfect heterosexual life mate for Gore. Maybe that's why we get. I really think that Alan and I get just our sense. You gotta have a sense of humor. You can't work at Film Threat and not have a sense of humor. So, yeah.
Yeah, I love you too.
A Knight for $4.99, retired after 20 years in the military. Thank you for your service. My grandfather was in the Navy in World War II. I had an uncle who served in Vietnam, and my son is currently a U.S. Marine. So there you go. I think Hollywood needs to interview women from the military to get real life depictions of strong females. Absolutely. So there you go. Amanda Nowicki, my husband is working on shutting up and just listening.
Yeah, work is the key word there.
I will say this, Amanda. First of all, it takes a lot. We just want to fix it. It's like, oh, you work with someone at work who's an asshole. Here's what you should do. I've literally, I've just learned to not give advice.
Well, I mean, part of it is we want to fix it so you'll stop complaining about it.
That's exactly. Oh my God, Alan, we want to fix it so you'll stop talking. Tertiary adjunct 7 of 9 was bitchy and likable. True facts. Want biscuits? You have to be the type that people love to hate, like a great heel wrestler, Ric Flair, Roddy Piper, Bobby Heenan. Mm-hmm. But what you can't be is so awful that no one wants to watch you. Again, your mileage may vary. I didn't see it that way, but I also didn't think it was the greatest thing ever. But we are Film Threat. I guess we're kind of standing in contrast with other places that, I mean,
I will say Jordan Peterson just put out a piece that's very similar to what they're saying, that this idea of men being monsters, raising them as monsters, but then teaching them to control their powers, so to speak.
Dempsey, her being hired only for being a super is a great look into what I would imagine it feels like to be hired because of your skin or gender. It is the soft bigotry of low expectations on display.
Yeah.
Good comment.
I mean, I think that was the second episode was all about.
Laura Buckles, Chris is the woman whisperer. I do have, I have a lot of female friends. And I had a girlfriend years ago that said that she would judge a man like, are you capable of having a female friend? Like, you just have female friends. And it was kind of how she judged men. Well, like, to be a boyfriend prospect is, are you capable of being friends with a woman? I know, weird thing. I'm sure there's something sexist wrapped up in there, but thank you, Laura, for your comment. Solomon Thornton, happy birthday, Sir Chris. Just want to let you guys know that the reason why I love Film Threat is because of your different views on film. Ever since I subscribed, my film library has expanded. And Shucksy is here to say, the thing is, Tony Stark is likable because he is a good, flawed, well-written character. She-Hulk is insufferable because she is obnoxious to the audience and terribly written. Fair point. Fair point. Reese, Corinne, such a cute work couple. Chris's son is a Marine. Excellent. Rah. Fellow Devil Dog, says Lance Corporal Waffles. Yes. He is. He's traveled all over. Let's see. Solomon Thornton says, okay, Solomon Thornton. Wait, did I read this one?
I think so.
Ever since I subscribed, my film library has expanded. Yeah. Happy birthday, sir. I'm a little loopy because I've only had one cup of coffee. Sorry, Solomon. Edmund Ibarra, looks like Amazon ordered Lord of the Rings from Wish. And
not with the money they paid for it.
From North Jersey. How did Marvel go full comedy? There were like 2 jokes in the Avengers, Hulk punching Thor in the arm like a friend and knocking him across town in Puny God. Now She-Hulk thinks she is Joan Rivers. Yeah, it's weird. And Thor Love and Thunder was just so jokey that it felt like nothing mattered. Like there were no serious consequences. And I just think the stuff with the kids at the end was dumb. So, what?
I like the fact that when, Guardians of the Galaxy, when Marvel went into outer space, that's when it became jokey as opposed to the serious stories that were happening on Earth. And so I kind of understand why they did it with Thor, but I feel like now with Doctor Strange, they're bringing the jokey nature back to Earth, and I think that's a bad mistake. I don't think it's a trend they should be going down.
Gotcha. All right. Continuing on with our comments here, we're going to switch gears for a second. And we have LIN SHAYE joining us in about 25 minutes. Brock Samsonite, Jamila Jamil said she specifically requested to shoot a version of the courtroom fight scene where She-Hulk punched her in the vagina, speaks volumes of the creator's maturity level. Well, I don't mind it. I mean, like, Titania's, I mean, they really showed off her assets, if you know what I'm saying. Like, and I didn't expect that coming from an all-female writing staff. Like, and when you meet the character of Madison in the next episode, I'm surprised that character comes from, there's stuff that's coming in episode 4, and then we're going to be in beyond territory for Alan and I. So,
yeah. I mean, I like childish locker room humor, and I'm glad there's elements of that in this.
It can work. You know, I mean,
there have been entire movie franchises built on childish locker room humor.
Solomon Thornton says, I heard that Universal Studios license for the Hulk may expire next year. They might do a World War Hulk film soon. Hope so. I mean, why don't they just partner with Universal to do it? Like Spider-Man has been, you know, like they do with Spider-Man and Sony. They kind of help. They co-productions, you know, it could happen. But
Sony made a lot of money doing it.
They are setting up. Did the scene with Hulk? Did that one scene happen in this episode, or is it next episode, Alan?
Which one? Which one are you talking about?
With Hulk that's coming up.
The Hulk. I thought that passed. I think Hulk
already.
Is done. I think Hulk went to outer space already. He did.
Okay, good. He did go to outer space. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the last episode because she was calling him about taking on the Abomination case.
Dempsey has a comment about Lynn. I'm going to read it when Lynn's here. So there you go. And John Weilbecker, Baker. I hope I say your name right, John. I'm sorry. It is revisionist history to say there weren't a lot of jokes in Avengers. Almost everything with Coulson and Cap, Iron Man mocking Thor, Doubth Thou Mother, No, You're Wearing Your Drapes, so much more. Yeah, I don't think it's revisionist. I just think that, like, the thing that stands out about those movies is I think the jokes were less.
Yeah. But
the stakes were there in the Avengers films. The stakes.
Well, I mean, I see this comparing Avengers with Guardians of the Galaxy. There's a very jokey tone with Guardians of the Galaxy versus the very much more serious tone of Avengers.
I think that's when the Marvel films kind of pivoted, is the success of Guardians of the Galaxy, and there's a lot of humor in Guardians of the Galaxy. That's when the Marvel movies really leaned into humor. But there was always humor as a part of it. It was interesting. I saw Kevin Feige once at a tribute to Richard Donner at the Academy. Kevin Feige was there, a lot of other people, and Kevin said that, you know, when people ask about Marvel movies, like they say Marvel movies are superhero movies, he said they're not really superhero movies, they're like old Hollywood movies. And old Hollywood movies defied genres, right? When you look at old Hollywood, they were adventure. They combined adventure, romance, comedy, epic storytelling. They weren't any one type of film. So what Kevin Feige, at least when he gave this speech, which was a tribute to Richard Donner before he passed away, Richard Donner was there. God, this might have been like 5 years ago or more. But Kevin Feige gave this great speech, and it was so cheap. It was like $5 to go see this thing. And they talked about one of my favorite Richard Donner movies that no one has ever seen. Put this on your recommend list. It's a movie called Inside Moves. Inside Moves stars John Savage, and it was the movie that he made directly after Superman. He had kind of a bad experience with Superman working with the Salkinds, very well documented. They kind of tricked him into making 2 movies for the price of 1 movie. He thought he was directing 1 movie. He was directing the script that was like 300 pages. Why am I doing a 300-page script? And it was because they were making 2 movies. It's so fun. It's so comical how stupid this is. So they signed Richard Donner to make the 1 movie, and they were going to split it into 2 movies, but didn't tell him. They did this. This is something they did before. These producers were really shysters. They did the 3 Musketeers, and they did the same thing with the 3 Musketeers, and they made the 4 Musketeers. So they were going to try to do the same thing with Superman 1 and 2. Anyway, so Richard Donner, to kind of as a palate cleanser, made this small, it feels like an indie movie about this guy, John Savage, who's depressed and he tries to commit suicide and then survives, and he's disabled. And he goes to this bar where a bunch of disabled people hang out and befriends them. And it's a character study. Brilliant film. It's called Inside Moves, starring John Savage. If you can find it, see that film. But I will say this. What the Marvel movies were aspiring to be, according to what Kevin Feige said, and I agree with him, the early Marvel movies fit this, is they were kind of everything, right? There's drama, there's romance, there's comedy, there's adventure, there are high stakes. It wasn't a superhero movie per se, but it was like a kind of movie that Hollywood used to make. And now they've kind of, gone off the deep end, I guess. They've leaned into comedy in a way that makes it feel like things don't matter. Vamp King says, how did Titania get powers? Is everyone in the MCU just showing up with powers now so that these new heroes continue to have villains without the work of building them up?
Yeah, I think that's where we're headed. I think that's
where we're headed. Is just like, well, this person's just here. This person's just here. We're not going to be getting, and according to what I've heard, that the Fantastic Four, there's not even an origin for the Fantastic Four. They're just the Fantastic Four.
Yeah. Well, X-Men, mutants.
Oh, sorry. Patrick Lemire says, right, Tony Stark was always funny in a snarky way. Tony Snark, so to speak. Not the Batman. Whedon ruined a whole generation of writers, though. Everything has to have witty quips now. True.
Yeah, some of the indie comedies we get. That's very true.
Yeah, from North Jersey, those older films were not comedies. These new ones are. I would agree that comedy was an element, but it wasn't dominant. Now I feel that, especially with Thor: Love and Thunder, I think it irritated a lot of people that it was too much of a comedy, right? It was just too much, and it feels like things don't matter. Shucksy, Marvel scripts are now written by a focus group consisting entirely of robots. I would agree. And Brock Sampson, Chris, have you heard anything about the Darkman reboot? I have not. And then Mason Williams, I don't know. I think Whedon originally brought some needed levity to the stories from the start, but it started spinning out of control as more movies were made. I think the tipping point was Guardians of the Galaxy, when that succeeded so unexpectedly, because it's like no one outside of me had heard of Guardians of the Galaxy before that. And it was total comedy, and it worked. But, comedy is just look at the first Raiders of the Lost Ark, that movie with Indiana Jones. There's comedy in that, right?
Yeah. And they definitely amped it up in the third one.
The new breed of Hollywood writers are creatively bankrupt list checkers, says the Alex Zorba. I think part of that also comes from the head writer and the producers.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. I'm going to get LIN SHAYE is going to be joining us in about 15 minutes. Laura Buckles. I remember Chris Pratt saying someone asked him before Guardians of the Galaxy came out, how does it feel to be in the first Marvel movie that's going to suck? They were wrong. The first movie's really good. It's the best Guardians movie. So
of the two, yes.
Yeah. So and then Solomon Thornton, a comment sort of, going back to oh wait, we got to see. Are we getting more comments on the fact that we just posted a poster? Is that
oh my God. Let me check.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Did we lose? It says automatic unfollow. Did we lose followers on our Instagram, the Film Threat Instagram?
I'm sure we did. Yeah, no new comments have come in since we started.
I think we lost 4 followers.
Oh no. No, what do we do?
What do we do? I don't know, Alan. What do we do? Am I able to comment?
Yeah, it depends on what account.
Clown shit. Well, it's good. We're getting a lot of engagement. I'm going to get a notice from Instagram that's going to be like, your post has more engagement. Whatever. Solomon Thornton, in 1984 by George Orwell, it was all about people bending the knee and not having different opinions. It sucks we can't have a different opinion about something without being attacked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. It does suck. Let's see. Lance Corporal Waffles. Age of Ultron felt like he went too hard with the quips. True, especially in the opening. Agreed. Guardians is a Marvel movie I'm actually looking forward to. Guardians 3, I assume. We don't know. Is it just mixtape Guardians Part 3? I don't know what to say. But yeah, no, it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
It's a poster. Get over yourselves, people. Thank you, Amanda Nowicki. Could you post that on Instagram for us, please? Go to our Instagram, follow us. It's a poster. Jesus. Mike, wait for 5. Happy birthday, Chris. Have a great Labor Day weekend. Thank you, Alan and Chris, for your wonderful reviews. Your friend from Seattle, Mike. All right, Mike. Thank you for that. I'm going to be seeing another friend from Seattle tonight. Do you know Alan Pruzan? Alan Pruzan are getting together. Alan Pruzan and I are getting together tonight for drinks, and we're going to hang out. So, Mike, you might know Alan.
Because everyone in Seattle knows each other.
They do. I'm just assuming. Patrick Lemire says, I have to defend writers to a degree. Who knows what they turned in and how many uncredited people tweaked it? That's true. Like writers, I mean, the biggest complaint about writers is like what they begin with isn't the thing that they end with. So, yeah. Alan, you're going to have to take over on the comment stuff. I'm going to take a quick break as we get ready for, I'm running to the bathroom. I'll be right back real quick.
Okay. So, yeah, Glenn, if you can help me out here. Let's go to Vamp King. It would be ironic if Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was one of the darkest MCU movies. That would be ironic. And I think, I think that would be an interesting take, that it's not just silliness. But at the same time, I think, James Gunn does seem to be able to balance the comedy and the darkness. Let's see. Moving on. John Beecher. Beecher. Sorry if I screwed up your name. People love to quote Orwell without the nuance that it wasn't just about thought police, but it's also about people in power using propaganda to change discourse to a pro-fascist regime. Yes, very interesting. Of course, that could never happen today. And of course, that currently is not happening now. So thankfully, Orwell wrote that in the past, and he has no idea what he's talking about. All right. Rise Corin, even Chris poops. That's right. I've never seen it, but I've heard rumors. John Platt. Hopefully Guardians of the Galaxy will be in. Okay. Yeah. Just make sure I hadn't read that before. Hoping Guardians of the Galaxy Part 3 will be another James Gunn tour de force and zero wokeness. Yeah, it'll be interesting. As for what it's worth, the video of the Marvel panel is on YouTube. From San Diego Comic-Con, the cast was there, or at least half the cast was there. And they did, I don't know, I feel somewhat optimistic about this, not knowing anything other than what I saw at that panel. But it seems like, let me see. Apparently this is Rocket's story. That most of what happens in Guardians of the Galaxy 3, at least the main theme about it, is about Rocket and his origins.
Can I say something really weird?
Yeah.
That is totally out of context. Has nothing to do with movies and everything. Okay, so this is just something I'm going to say. If you are someone who cares about the environment, I think maybe we may be way overplaying some of this world crisis stuff that's going on. And I think that also contributes to depression. But here's what I'll do. When I go to the bathroom, I wash my hands. After I go to the bathroom, I do that every time. Instead of taking a paper towel, or instead of using some of those gross blow dryers, here's what I do is I take my wet hands and I just go like this. 1, it could make my hair look cool. And 2, I don't use paper towel or energy of a dryer. The more you know. I need a the more you know, like little thing go like this. That's just all you do. Like it just doesn't work for every hairstyle, but for what I do is I wash my hands and I just go, all right, we're good.
Oh, I missed the step between washing your hands there. So I thought it was just,
oh, you did? Okay.
I thought it was just right from the toilet too.
Adrian Curry, lol. Alan sarcasm, 10 out of 10. Why do you think that we have been working together for so long? We should talk a little bit about Jaws. Right? And I got to prepare for wait, do we have a Jaws banner here? No, this is the Hollywood on the Rocks banners.
Yeah, I don't think
Friday Livecast banners. It just says Jaws. No, here, we got to okay, here's how I got to do this.
I didn't put it there.
And look, I actually already prepped this. All right, here. I'm gonna prep this. Throw a Jaws background on there while I prep this, okay?
Okay.
Maybe a different one. Here's our format, folks.
There you go. That was the best advertising.
Did you see Jaws in the theater?
I've not, but I think I might be able to convince my kid to go with me this weekend.
Really? Okay.
So.
If you have not seen Jaws in a theater, and there's a whole generation. My daughter had never seen Jaws in a theater. Okay. Never seen it. We went and saw it in 3D. Amazing. So there is the option of 3D or not 3D. I thought the 3D was very good. The reason I think the 3D was very good is it wasn't too much. So here's our format: quotes around the name of the movie, and then what it is. It's a review or early reaction or whatever. So we're here. First of all, I find it shocking because the last couple months I've seen E.T. in a theater, Jaws, and I saw Back to the Future at the Hollywood Bowl. And this weekend, I don't know if you're going to be there. This weekend, I am seeing John Williams at the Hollywood Bowl. I'll be there on Sunday, September 4th. And if you're going to be there and you see like this head of hair walking around, that's me. If you happen to be there. But Jaws is a classic. It's why I don't go in the ocean. And what struck me about the film, seeing it now on the big screen for the first time in a long time, including seeing it in IMAX 3D, which you can see it, a lot of people don't like 3D. Totally understand. Don't go see it in 3D. There is an option to see 3D or non-3D versions. So, but seeing it in the theater after so many years, because I saw it when I was a kid in first run, and I was so scared. I slept in my sister's bedroom on the floor with the light on. I was scared. That movie freaked me. I mean, look, I hadn't seen, it's not like, I really feel like there's a whole generation of kids that have become desensitized to that there's so much of this content available on streaming and whatnot. But seeing Jaws in a theater, I'd never seen anything like that ever at the movies. And most of the movies that I had seen on television were pretty tame, like Dracula or the Frankenstein. I'm talking about the original Universal monster movies. Creature from the Black Lagoon was one of my favorites with Julia Adams. Oh my God. She was amazing. But seeing this in the theater for the first time, it kind of brought me back to that. It also reminded me this is one of those rare, perfect films. What was amazing about it was how much it was focused on character. And it altered from the book. In the book, Brody actually has, Chief Brody's wife has an affair with, how am I spacing on his name? Richard Dreyfuss's character.
Oh, not Quinn.
Yeah.
I mean, you just saw the movie. You should know better.
I should know it better. I'm just, Alan, I've only had one cup of coffee. I'm barely awake right now.
I'm getting there.
It sort of put those elements aside, focused totally on character.
Hooper. Oh
my God. So Hooper. And their friend dynamic works so well. There's a scene at the dinner table, and any studio, this is why a lot of movies suck today, is there's too much overnoting. There's too many cooks, too many people telling other people what to do. And this is why everything feels so corporate and sanitized. The studio would have cut this scene. That's a boring scene at the dinner table. It doesn't do anything. It's a scene where Chief Brody is sitting there with his son, and they're like at the dinner table. There's no dialogue. And he just looks at him, and the son is mimicking everything the dad does. He puts his hands like this. He's got his hand like this. The son does that. He kind of goes like this, opens his eyes, looks. Then he looks at the son and goes like, the son goes like, and he just, like this. A completely wordless exchange between Chief Brody and his youngest son. And it's incredibly charming. It just makes you like Chief Brody. And he's kind of struggling with that. There's the threat of this shark in town, and he's also got to placate the mayor, who's a total douchebag, just cares about, those dollars, those beach dollars, those 4th of July dollars. I got to keep the businesses afloat because you get those tax dollars. Like, it's just, which he's just like, when you see a politician like that, you're just like, oh, it's so horrific. It's awful. But in any case, it's so great to see it in the theater. Please just go see it. Please just go see Jaws in the theater. Let's look at some of these comments.
Let me bring up.
Lynn comes on. Lynn's going to be on in a couple minutes. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
So, there's a companion piece to this that I think is interesting. It's on Disney Plus on National Geographic. The movie's called Playing with Sharks, a Valerie Taylor story. Valerie Taylor has been a longtime shark researcher and advocate, and she was the shark consultant for Jaws. And there's a moment in the middle of the movie where she talks about being involved in Jaws and the repercussions afterwards in terms of how people viewed sharks. And she kind of reflects on that. But overall, she had a pretty good experience working on Jaws itself.
Yeah. And Glanucci says, making that more video. Yeah, do it. Tumbleweed says, canceled my Disney Plus subscription after She-Hulk twerk post-credit. Seems Thanos was trying to save us all from this when he snapped his fingers.
Really, that's the one thing that turned you off.
Look, this is when you're scraping the bottom of the barrel, this is what you get. We've got some great comments here. We're going to get to those comments. Bear Down Adam says, great advice, Chris. I have long hair. I do that same thing. We've got your comments. We'll get more to these comments, but we have a very special guest joining us. She's it's not an exaggeration. She's a legend. She's been in so many horror films, comedy. She's worked with the Farrelly brothers. She is in a new documentary now, which I'm going to find the graphic for it. Where is it? Here, the documentary. It's called The Horror Crowd. And The Horror Crowd is about, it's about a group of horror filmmakers. It's about a group of horror filmmakers and kind of how they all work together. It's a lot of insight. Well, I'm surprised by how many people I know that are in this documentary. Everything from Charles de Lazarica to Darren Bozeman, just a ton of filmmakers. Dave Parker. It's amazing. And Lynn is in this documentary and she's here to talk to us about it. And also just to answer your questions. I'm so ecstatic to bring her on the show here. Wait, a couple technical things that I need to do before we bring her on. Just give me a moment here. We're going to do this. Let's do it right. LIN SHAYE, thank you for joining us.
I was so worried I was going to screw it up.
Screw up what?
Anyway, so far so good. All is well. Thank you for inviting me. I love your show. I love you guys, and I appreciate you wanting to talk to me. So. Oh,
that's great. Well, first of all, thank you again. This documentary is incredibly insightful. And what's interesting is I have had the pleasure of being invited to parties where those things that, where all those people are there. I don't know how they all get there, but everyone seems to know each other in the horror space, and you're part of that group. How did you get, it's one thing to actually act in films, but my experience is sometimes, you do a TV show or a movie, and once it's over, everyone kind of goes their separate ways. It's not quite necessarily true with people in the horror crowd, and you're part of that group. How did this group kind of organically evolve?
I don't know the answer to that, but you're 100% correct. It's a community that you become a part of when you enter that genre in a way, and you have, and you are a likable person, I guess. I'm sure there are people, maybe there are some people who've done horror films who are not part of the horror crowd, but Ruben Pla, who put this all together, is, how can I say, he's sort of a glue in a way to a lot of people. He's very outgoing, very smart, very loving, a very good guy. And he promotes also his kind of own brand of community. So I wasn't really surprised when he put this together, but when he came for the interview, I was really impressed with the amount of detail and questions he asked, which were really insightful and very much a part of kind of leadership. So, my hats off to him. He has a very strong presence, not just in the horror community. He's a very, very forthright and very energetic guy who I believe will get done whatever he chooses to get done in the rest of his life. So far, so good, right?
Well, what's your secret to getting cast in so many films? You have had a career where you're always working. You're just constantly being cast in things. Is it just you? I just going to assume you're fun to hang out with.
I hope so. I make myself laugh. During the pandemic, I've spent more time talking to myself and getting to know myself in a way I never had before, and I'm all right. I think my sense of humor, I see life in a very, not always a very positive light, but in a very ironic light. Things change so rapidly. These last 2.5 whatever years has really been, has changed the world, not just me, not just us. Not just the horror community. There's something there's something brand new that has happened that I think made us all reevaluate what's important to us. And the horror community, again, a community is a very powerful way of maintaining joy, because you have someone to talk, you have people to talk to who are of a like mind. They don't necessarily think the way you do or feel the way you do about things, but they can participate in the way you're processing your life, by sharing how they are processing theirs. And I found that very comforting, for me in particular. To be honest, I don't know why I get hired. I'm not that cute. I'm old. I have a lot of things that in some ways I guess would work against me in the traditional sense. But I love storytelling. I love good people. I even love bad people. I sort of find them really fascinating. And I'm very, I learned over these last few years, especially too, that I am very forthright. I don't lie about anything. I have no interest in telling someone an untruth. I know how to be kind when I want to be, and I know how to be nasty when I want to be, which is also something I sort of unveiled about my little Linda Shay personality. But I love working with people. I realized being alone was very difficult for me. I didn't realize how much I need stimulation and I need to be able to express myself. And then it all sort of made sense because I'm an actress. I'm a communicator. That's what I do. And I feel that that's been very positive in getting me hired, is that I am very communicative. I'm very active more than ever in storytelling. And if there's something in a story or in a role or in 2 lines that doesn't make sense to me, I'm the first one to offer a suggestion. And I think people like that because I'm not pushy, but I'm smart. And I'm not that smart, but I'm a little bit smart. And I'm a Libra, so I find the acceptable way to criticize people and what they've done. And I think we all long to be monitored, but we don't want to be criticized. And there's also an approach to discussing character and story with people that's not offensive or intrusive, but that's supportive. And I like to feel I have that quality, and I think that truly is one of the reasons. I also feel like I don't have a thing about age. I say I'm old. I don't even know what that really means because I don't feel any different. Gratefully, good health. I take very good care of myself. I love myself because I'm all I got. Bottom line is that this is it. So I have a little self-destruct in me, which I think we all do as well. Somewhere there's something we feel we don't deserve, or we question our choices. But I feel that I'm a collaborator, and I think that might answer your question in one word. I think I'm a very positive collaborator.
You're getting so much love in the chat right now. I want to throw up a lot of these comments and questions from everyone watching. We've got about 300 people watching us live. So
wow. Hi, everybody. I just washed my hair. I didn't do much with it.
Oh no. John Wheelbecker says, Lin Shaye is an icon, a national treasure. Glad for everything she has done for cinema and looking forward to more in the future. Bear Down Adam says, hey Lynn, huge fan. You're the best. Goober says the legend of Something About Mary. Jack D. Ripper, horror fans are the best. From New Jersey says, oh my God, I loved you in Kingpin and There's Something About Mary. Had no idea about your earlier career. Dempsey says, Lynn being in A New Nightmare really made that whole scene ultra creepy, so well paced. Eric K for 5 says, loved you in Kingpin. Jack D. Ripper has a question here. What was it like being directed by Jack Nicholson?
Amazing. That was the first real job. That was what brought me out to Los Angeles. It's a very kind of odd story, which it's too long to go into. I would love to, but I think we'll be here till tomorrow. But the short version of it is somewhere he had seen a picture. It might have been the Academy Players even. I don't really know that answer. I was living in New York. They were in New York casting Going South, which was his big directorial debut, I believe. He never directed anything before that. It was a real love project of his. And he expressed interest, just, casting director, he looked at my picture or whatever it was. And I took it upon myself to fly out to Los Angeles to meet him. I wrote him a note saying I planned to be in Los Angeles for a short visit because I knew they weren't coming back to New York. That was my proactive. That's another thing. Everybody be proactive. If you have an idea, go for it. No one's going to get mad at you. Just be kind and considerate. And I wrote a very nice note and said, I look forward to meeting you, which, was out of nowhere. And I literally came to LA and checked into the Chateau Marmont because I didn't know any better. I didn't know how much it cost for the next 2 or 3 nights. And went to Paramount and met Jack. I walked into his office and he just said, these are for some small roles, but there's 4 spinsters, but I could make one a parasol lady. And I was the parasol lady. And he hired me. I had one line. And it was the most exciting thing that ever happened to me, really. And I flew to Durango. I didn't know I for sure had a role. Then they said they wanted me in Durango. I was there for 2 weeks with John Belushi and Chris Lloyd and Mary Steenburgen and Veronica Cartwright, this whole famous gang of people. And, I was little Lin Shaye from Detroit. And Jack was just he was bigger than life. He is bigger than life. I still think he's the best actor ever alive, maybe. He just, and for what he does, he's just brilliant and very inclusive also. So, I was really nobody, but he came over and he introduced himself. It was a Western. I remember he rode over on this big bay horse he had. And I was in wardrobe. I was in 1890, or what is it, 1880s, I think it is, or 1860s, in this little outfit with a little hat with strawberries on it. And up came Jack, and he just kind of took his hat off and nice to have you here, ma'am. And he did direct me. He explained to me what MOS was. I didn't know what that meant. And it was just the one scene with Anne Ramsey. I have a picture if I can figure out how to send it to you. It's just wonderful of me and Anne. And it was, so to answer the question, I have a long way of answering questions. It was wonderful.
You're getting so much love here. I'll go through as many as we can. TPAC 28 says for 10, thank you for that. Loved you in Critters 2. Yeah. John Madeline says Ms. Shaye is the reason why the Insidious series was so amazing.
Thank you so much.
That's great. And then Zane Azray says, what was it like working with Wes Craven?
Oh, I just did an interview actually 2 days ago that's all about Wes. And he was an angel and a prince. Those are 2 words that come to mind when I think of him. He was one of those beautiful men. Just very tall and truly angelic, really handsome, always was flushed. He always had so much energy coming into his face, and very kind and very quiet. And you would never in a million years think this man was a horror director or writer. He also, I think, was a classical guitarist. He was an accomplished artist. He was, I think, a painter before he became a filmmaker. Really, really a well-rounded artist. And the two words that come to mind are quietude. When he would give you a suggestion or it was quiet on set, I mean, he was very, it was a very gentle time in the midst of all the horror that was happening in terms of story. So he was just the loveliest person ever.
Wow. More comments and questions. Go Party Time says, you look amazing, Lynn. Alex Jordan says,
if I do, I'm doing good, because I literally was just out of the shower.
The Alex Zorba says, great energy. What's your secret?
I love living and I love telling the truth. And I know that's a weird thing to say, maybe. It makes me very emotional. Mm-hmm. Because there's so much mistrust, especially right now, and people are not expressing what they really feel. They're so full of fear. This is a very difficult time we're going through, I think. And more than ever, I really do value honesty and accentuating joy and joyful activities, your pets, things that make you feel good. There's too much out there. There's so much damage going on. And maybe it's always been that way. You know, I've never been as aware of it as I've been these last couple of years in particular. But I think the key is do things you love, be with people you like. And if you can't, spend time in your room by yourself and think about good things. I mean, it's partly, we run our own movie, you know, in our head. I mean, we're inundated with the world and with all the elements of living day to day, but we create the way we experience the world. And I think that we are in charge of that part of our lives. And I think you can steer that. You're not a victim. You don't have to be a victim of anything or of anyone. I mean, there's really, it's not always easy to extricate yourself from negativity and from things that are negative around you, from things you hear. If you listen to television, the news, the media, it just will kill you in 30 seconds. I mean, there's just too much to look at that's negative. And what's scary to me is it pulls you in. Like you go, oh, I want to know more about that. And pretty soon you're down the rabbit hole with a lot of bad stuff. And I think be careful of that. I think be your own bus driver. You know, take a quick left turn and get the hell out of there. And so you have more control over the way you experience the world than you think. We are not victims. We're bus drivers.
More comments. Spaceman says, hi, Lynn, love hearing your stories. You're great in Kingpin. Love that movie. And Aid Robertson, thank you for your super chat. Lynn was great in Detroit Rock City. Yes, you worked, my friend Adam Rifkin.
Adam is the best.
I've known Adam. He was one of the first filmmakers I ever met when I moved to LA in '89. He is a sweetheart, always wears that dark, blazer.
And his hat.
And the hat. Just to this day, he looks the same. It's so funny, but like he's great. It's such a great creative person. And Jamin D for 20, thank you for that. Oh my God, Sally, if I can ask, and if you remembered how was it like working with Wes in Critters? I have to say that is one of the most fun horror movies I've ever seen. Love you.
Now Wes didn't do Critters.
Okay.
Yeah, that's on the comment.
No, it was Stephen Herrick. It was right. Stephen Herrick and then Mick Garris. Or at least the two that I did. But to answer your question, we adore Wes. We already went. Yeah. Wes was wonderful.
How was it like working in Critters? Sorry, I read that wrong.
Oh, okay. It was really fun. Actually, that my brother Bob Shea, who really was a mentor. I mean, he used to always embarrass me because he would introduce me. I was like I was shorter than him, but I mean, that wasn't. I'm also his little sister. And he would introduce me. This is Linda Shaye. I use Lin Shaye, which is my name also, but Linda is my birth name. So Bob would introduce, this is Linda Shaye. She wants to be an actress. That's how he used to introduce me. I was just I would just disappear into the crowd. And yet when they did Critters, it was Bob who said, see Lynn for this role. And so Stephen Herrick directed the first one, and it was just, we came up with that crazy image of this woman. That was in hair and makeup. I can't remember the name of the makeup artist who did the show. I wish I did, because she was sort of my counterpart. We talked about what should we look like, or what do you want to do, and maybe I should have, like, we should do red hair. Let's do a 30s thing. So we created this woman with big red lipstick, and in the middle of some little podunk town in Texas, because we had Emmett Walsh playing Harv, and he was so great, by the way. I mean, he is still great. But he would say, suppose you want to run the lines. And we would run the lines. He'd say, I suppose you want to run them again. And we would run them again. And he kind of shepherded me through the scene. And it was, so we really created that woman, as we were working on her. And again, Bob he was the one who led me into the show. And then, of course, I got to do the second one. But not enough is ever said about Bob Shaye. I even though he's my brother, he really was a forerunner of Hollywood in more ways than you can imagine. When you think of the careers he spawned, both directors, producers, actors, I mean, he doesn't toot his own horn, but in my mind, nobody toots it loud enough. I mean, he's really been a wonderful support of many, many young filmmakers and artists. So if it wasn't for Bob, I don't know, maybe I would have gotten a part, but he gave me opportunity. And that's the other thing. If you're given opportunity, take it and do with it the best you can.
Question here, comments. Fletcher Williams says she is glowing. And John Wilbecker says, true wisdom, your perspective is what we need more of in life. And Luther Talbert says, towards the end of my late mom's battle with cancer, we watched the Insidious movies. It was her and still mine and my son's favorite series. We love you.
Oh, thank you so much. I mean, that really does mean a lot to me. That role means and has meant a lot to me, of course, as well. I mean, I've meeting James Wan, which was also, everything is, it's like when wonderful things happen, it's good to trace back and see, where did that come from? Because often it comes from something you think, I shouldn't have done that, or why did I do that? And you got to recognize that you make positive choices, even sometimes when they seem like negative choices, but to just stay in the center of your lane. Again, you're that bus driver. Make sure you stay right straight ahead and keep your eyes ahead of you. And it was, Insidious was sort of, I had no idea it was going to take me as far as it did, but come up with your ideas. If you're an actor, always feel comfortable to initiate your thoughts and ideas, however much participation you have. These are little clues, I think, which led me to success, which I didn't even know, but I kind of got from my mom and dad, I guess, who are like, you can do it, and if no one tells you you can do it, you tell yourself you can do it, because you can. And you will.
Another question here from Dempsey. Was it difficult to keep a straight face while filming the Dumb and Dumber films?
Yes. And actually, I have a cute story about that with something about Mary. The scene where the dog is kissing me. That just happened. The dog just started kissing me. I think it was really about the makeup, that the dog wanted the latex because I had all that crap on my face. And people started laughing so hard, and the dog is licking me, and I had some lines, and Cameron was laughing so hard she was crying. And I thought to myself, don't break, because the whole crew was like this. And I thought to myself, don't break character, stick with it. Because if you lose this, you'll never have it again. Yeah. And so that's the key. You can't let it crack you up. Let it crack up everybody who's watching you, but don't let it crack you up when you're on camera. Follow through, because that's the gold. And that's what Pete said when he came running out after the dog had licked a hole in my makeup. He said, that's cinema gold. He said, that's what that is. And it is. I mean, that's still the scene. I have pictures of it all over my house, Puffy licking me. So, and then Dumb and Dumber, those guys were, Jeff Daniels and Jim Carrey are just, I don't think there'll ever be a duo like that again. It's better than Dean, it's better than Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis. Even they were just hilarious together.
We have more questions here than I don't know how much more time we have. I know we talked about going for 20 minutes, but if you're willing to stay, we've got some more questions.
I'm willing, and if I'm talking too much, you can cut me off anytime too. I mean, just.
I don't think I'll do that, but
okay.
We're not going to do that.
No, not at all. But Patrick Lemire, do you still have to audition at all?
That's also a very interesting question. I just got there's a film that's shooting, I guess, that I would love to be a part of, and they wanted me to self-tape, and I won't do it. First of all, I don't do well self-taping. I mean, that's a whole thing. You got to be a filmmaker to do that correctly. Find somebody to read with it. And I go, you know what? I've been an actress 52 years. I got my equity card in 1971. So 51 or 52. And I have a lot of footage they can go look at if they want to see if I'm right. I would always be happy to, because now with Zoom, with all the Zoom opportunities, if you want to have a Zoom call with me and talk about the role, talk about the character, I will read for you on camera while you're there, and you can direct me and explain to me what you might want or don't want. I'm 100%, I'll do that till forever. But I'm not going to do a self-tape, or I just don't want, or I feel like it's humiliating. Steven Spielberg would never ask me to. If he asked me to, I would. But I just feel for beginning actors, it's a great tool, and especially now with the self-taping, that's a whole skill unto itself. I mean, you really have to have a scene partner, someone reading the lines like, okay, you're in the show now, and then you go, oh yeah, I'm in. It's bullshit. I mean, to me, it doesn't show anything. It just shows if you're a good technician, if you're able to pull things together, it shows other aspects of you, but not what you would give to the character. I did a series last fall, which is called right now, Ellen Cole, The Last Stand of Ellen Cole. I don't know. It hasn't been sold yet. They're still working on it. But those guys, they were two guys from Canada, and it wasn't an offer. I mean, I gratefully get a lot of, offers, and that's wonderful. But it wasn't an offer, but they wanted to talk to me. So I was nervous. I went through the script. I went through all the things I wanted to express about what I thought about the character. And it was great. I mean, we met each other. We had a real conversation, and we really talked about the story. Then I read for them a little bit. Fine. I'm so good with that. And I got they wanted to hire me, gratefully. And I was in Canada 2 months doing the show. But just to go audition and stand there like an idiot anymore, I can't do it. And it doesn't make you an idiot to do it, by the way. But for me, it makes me feel like an idiot.
I just think, isn't there enough tape of you already? I mean, look at you in so many movies. And speaking of that, from North Jersey asks, wow, Lynn was in Brewster's Millions with John Candy, Richard Pryor, and Detective Briscoe from Law & Order. I had heard Candy was a great guy to be on a movie with. Any stories about Brewster's Millions?
Not really. I was just, when you have a role like that, it was a very small role. I think I have like a couple lines only, but you don't really get to interact with anybody other than who's in the scene with you. I never met John Candy. It's not like that where you all get together and everybody meets each other and has an opportunity to talk to each other. It's pretty isolated when you come in for a small role. They take you to your trailer or wherever, hair or makeup, you get into your thing, you're on set. Maybe you get to talk, Richard Pryor was there, but I really never met anybody. I probably met the person standing next to me in the scene, and that was about it.
Yeah, I have a question about the horror crowd is pretty much a celebration of the horror community. And I'm just curious, has that changed a whole lot today, especially after the pandemic? Is the community as tight as now? Because I feel like in other genres and other fandoms, it's starting slowly to become much more toxic. I feel like horror is the one that really binds people together.
Yeah, I don't feel, other than going to big parties, which I used to enjoy, and I'm going to go to Halloween Horror Night at Universal, and I'm a little nervous about going. I mean, people are still getting sick, and I'm going to get my new booster. I don't want to catch this. I haven't had it. and I'm very grateful I haven't. Because yes, it can be just a cold, but I have a couple friends who got heart problems from it, who have respiratory problems that are using inhalers. You don't know how it's going to affect you. So in terms of the physical community, we are still sort of, I mean, some of us are still being a little more vigilant than ever before. There are people who have sort of, it's over, we're done, you know, and they're also 30 years old, or, you know, they're, or they've had it a couple times, you know, no big deal. But I think that the community has stayed tight, whether it's through just, you know, social media or, you know, just mostly through social media and through sort of contact with, you know, phone call, I mean, calling each other or checking in. And I really love that Ruben put this together, and now it seemed like such a great time to release it because of all this sort of separation that we've been experiencing. So, but I think the community is as tight as ever, and I don't think that will change. And I think that is unique to the horror community.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Fletcher Williams asks, what would you say to a young actor wanting to break into the industry?
Don't give up.
Good.
Really, I mean, and use your imagination. You know, listen, if I sent Jack Nicholson a note saying, P.S. I plan to be in Los Angeles for a short visit in a week, and he said, sure, I'll meet her. I mean, use your, be bold, be courteous, and don't give up. Those would be my.
Another question from Jack D. Ripper. You worked with so many icons. What was it like being directed by Walter Hill?
Oh, I loved Walter. I was in 4 movies with him, and they were all small roles, but I love Walter. I haven't seen him for years. I saw him just momentarily at a Saturn Awards, probably now about 4 or 5 years ago. And we just I just went over and said hello. And of course, he was sort of holding court. Everybody was coming over to him. So I didn't really have much time to chat with him. But I met him through James Keach when they were doing The Long Riders. And I knew James from New York. We were in the actor studio, and we were in plays together in New York. That's the other thing. Do theater, guys, if you can. It's so much fun, and you learn so much. So that was sort of the early roots for me. And that was how I knew Jimmy. And then when we came out here, he said they were doing a Western. And I remember I went to meet Walter. This was bold. I was wearing cowboy boots and cut off jeans, like shorts, and a little T-shirt with a lion on it. And I went in and I kind of strutted into his office. I was feeling very good about myself. And you know, I was just, hi, you know, and he gave me this little part of playing a prostitute in The Long Riders. And there's a very nice moment where I'm dancing with Randy Quaid, actually. And it's, I mean, I think I only have a line or two. And everything I did with him was very small. It was a teller at I think a bank teller. They were not really auspicious roles, but what I always felt is he wanted me there. You know, he was inviting me to the party. And so I still, to this day, hold him in very high regard, and I think he's a brilliant filmmaker.
We have so many questions. I'll do the best because we could take up your whole afternoon with all these questions. But John Manaling asks, having worked with the great James Wan, what do you think sets him apart from other horror film directors?
It's a good question. James, I met James. He came to my house with a friend to a party. And there's a movie I did called Dead End, I think in 2002 or 3 or something, with Ray Wise it became a favorite of a lot of people. And it's oddly a very popular film. I mean, not oddly, but it was never promoted, or it was really fans that found that movie. And so James was a fan, and he wanted to meet me. He and Lee had just come here, they had done Saw, so they'd been here for a while, but they were still, you know, trying to make it happen, you know, trying to get their new stuff going. And so he came to my house with my friend, Tim Sullivan, who's actually a wonderful director also, and who I did several movies with. And he's not a great, you know, they weren't best friends, but they knew each other. So I gave him a copy of Dead End. And then about a couple weeks later, he called me and said, we have a script. Lee and I have a script. We don't really know what it's going to be called. There's a character in it, a psychic, if you'd like to take a look at it. So he sent over Insidious. And I remember I read it in bed, and Lee has this way of Lee Winnell is one of my favorite people on the planet. And he's so talented, everything he does. And the script, he would change font when it would get scary. Like the font would get ooh, you know? And so I remember reading it in bed. I can't remember what section it was, but it creeped me out. And so I at the end, I finished the script, and I thought, oh, that was good. And Elise talks a lot, that's for sure, in that first movie, because she's the one who really sets up the whole criteria of the further. She sets up the universe that then we lived in for the rest of the shows. But I put it downstairs in the closet because I didn't want to sleep with it next to me. And I called James, and he is the most unassuming. He's the most positive, unassuming, problem-solving person I know. And he's just, he's very single-minded. He's got an incredible mind. And he does it, and nothing is broadcast. You don't really know. It's all it's all in there. It's like a camera. I mean, his mind is going, and his visions are going like very visually, and he's hearing scenes. I think probably hearing scenes in his head. And when we shot the first Insidious, we had no idea that it was going to be anything. Is that it? Are we done?
No, that was just a.
No, sorry, not me.
Oh, but anyway, I will try to answer the question a little shorter. He's a very quiet, as far as when I've worked with him, very quiet, very specific. He never gave me any acting notes. I think he gave me one once because I said something that was funny. And he said, we can't have a laugh there because there's a scare coming right after. So that was about and the rest he sort of leaves for him. He's a cinephile. I mean, he's like a lens. He sees things through this very complicated camera of his own mind. And obviously has gone on to make these giant films, which I can't even fathom how he directs these movies. Aquaman, I don't know what number is coming, and he's a genius. I think James and Lee are geniuses, both of them, in terms of what they do, and I don't use that term lightly.
Some more comments here. The writer's room. Hi, Lynn. You are my favorite cast member on American Cowslip. Love the pick. Love the pick I have of you and Diane. You, Diane, and Cloris. You are a sweetheart, Charlie.
Thank you.
So, yeah. And then the film philosopher says, Lynn, did your work in the Insidious film change your views of the supernatural? Have you had any experiences with the supernatural?
Yes, I have. I'm never sure how to even discuss it because there's so many things. It's also coincidence. There's so many different elements that make things happen that seem like they could be supernatural, or they may all be supernatural. I think we know nothing about anything. That's the way I look at life, and that anything is possible. And I don't think Insidious change. I'm not fearful. I probably shouldn't say it too loud because they're all listening. And then there's that, you go, I don't know. We know energy is real. We know you can't see music. There's many things we can't see that are there. So who am I to say, oh no, there's no such thing as, and wouldn't it be cool if there's all these worlds other that we can possibly uncover later? Then I always wonder, if you don't believe, you never find them. You have to believe to be able to find them. And that just gave me chills. So I think it's important to keep it open-minded. That's probably the best advice.
And there's so many comments. I don't know how much longer you can stay, but maybe.
I'm good. I'm good. What time? It's I'm good.
Okay,
right now,
good.
so.
Solomon Thornton says you have a great personality. What do you consider a great horror film? That might be difficult to answer.
I don't have an answer for that because I think we all experience things through our own lenses and our own experiences. So I think what's scary to some person is not scary to another. And the simplest thing, some people are afraid of dogs, so there's something with a dog that would be the worst thing that could ever happen to them to be, so I think it's a very individual experience for everybody.
Were you a horror fan going in, or did you just kind of get into it because of the work you were getting?
I was not a horror fan. I'm a story fan. I mean, but I don't love being, people seek being frightened. They like that.
Like a roller coaster.
Yeah. I'm not, I mean, it's cool. Every experience is a learning experience. It's not always positive, but you figure out something new. If you're really afraid of something, it's kind of important to experience a part of it so you can maybe figure out why. Being afraid is not so much fun. I mean, I'm not a very fearful person. So I was never really, I'm not scared of scary. Oh, I watched The Fly again last night. The old Jeff Goldblum. Oh my God, I forgot. David Cronenberg is one of my favorite directors. I saying this out loud. I hope to work with him someday in my life. I just think he has such a crazy, extreme perspective on humanity. I mean, because that's what it boils down to. It's the way it affects. I mean, watching that disintegration of Jeff Goldblum, I forgot how scary that was. That was a scary movie. And I forgot what I got into. Oh, but so horror is, I think it's not something I sought out or I stayed away from. I kind of go into things pretty, well, let's see what it is. I kind of go in a little bit neutral. And so my fear factor often happens. I'm not a fearful person. I mean, it doesn't mean I'm not careful some of the time, but I probably should be more careful than I am some of the time. Because I'm like, oh, okay, well, let's go see what that is. My manager will say, we're not going over there. So my manager, who I adore, who's truly one of my best friends, her name is Gina Rugolo, but we've traveled together. We've been to Asia together. We've done so much stuff. She kind of keeps me safe because I kind of like, oh, well, let's go over there. So I'm not a fearful person.
Another question here. John Witchboy asks, if you had to get rid of a body, which horror filmmaker, living or dead, would you call?
Oh my God. Wes Craven.
Oh, good.
And I'll probably get an answer.
Dempsey says, can you tell us what it was like for you to be named the godmother of horror? What it meant to you personally?
And it's huge because it's a community of people who I will never meet, who I have somewhere ignited, not just touched, but sort of ignited on some level that I'm unaware I've done. And so to be given, I actually have, where's my little trophy? I have a little godmother of horror. You want to see it? Want to see the
Yes,
godmother?
let's see it.
It's right
It's
here.
great. Oh my gosh. Oh, wow. Godmother of horror. And we'll get this up. We have some other chat non-Lynn related questions, but we'll get to those before the end of the show. This is amazing. Where did you get that?
I was given it at it was in Philadelphia, I believe, and it was the Wizard World.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow, that's awesome.
And it's really heavy. It's glass, and it's I mean, I have an Emmy. I mean, I have these things that I go, where did they come from? I have the boobs from Something About Mary. Would you like to see them?
Yeah, let's see.
Yes,
Yeah, we do. Wait. So that could be a murder weapon, practically.
Well, an Emmy could kill you too.
This could kill you.
I know both of those. Both of those.
Oh my God! Wait, we're about to see. Okay, preparing everyone in the chat. The boobs from There's Something About Mary.
Now, as long as she doesn't put it on.
LIN SHAYE. Wait, can we show that?
I think as long as we don't put them on.
I don't know if you're going to be able to see these. I might have to.
Okay, yeah, maybe hold up over the. Oh my. Okay, all right. Wait, we might not be able. Not so close. Not so close. No. Wait. We're gonna have to. Oh no. Oh no. Oh my God. We're in trouble.
Wait, and it says, I have a little thing. The plaque says, Magda's boobs. There's something about Mary, 1998.
All right.
And you know, I had them on the show.
My
and then
God.
I took them off and I threw them in the garden, you know, because it was the end of the day, and they're on actually a leotard. They were put onto a black leotard, and you only see me with the shirt open in the window. There's that one scene.
Right.
And I thought I should keep these, and I'll bet they're worth more than my house.
They probably are.
I don't know how we're gonna top that. I don't know how we're gonna top that.
I'm coming back.
Oh my God! All right, let's get to one.
Yeah. Can we make a short out of that?
Last question.
We could wrap it up on that, probably.
Yeah. Not the Batman says it's worth a strike, Chris. And then this will be. Oh God, I'm trying to look for a good like button question. Wait, did we get to that one? That would be no. I just gotta say, Shelby ACS, hi Lynn, you worked in so many genres. Is it true comedy is harder than drama? What's your favorite type of project to do? And that we'll leave it at that, because I don't think we're not going to top the boobs from.
Okay, I'm good with that.
Okay, good.
Would you repeat the question? I was still lost in my boobs.
Yes, Shelby ACS, Island, you worked in so many genres. Is it true comedy is harder than drama? And what's your favorite type of project?
I in terms of type, it's really just a good story. I love all genres. I'm interested in all genres. I don't have a favorite, I really just like good storytelling. Tell me, I'm sorry, I still really was in the boobs. So first.
Yeah, like what's your favorite type?
Horror, my favorite, whether it be comedy or horror. I don't have a favorite. I mean, I really, I think comedy is not really harder. I have very good timing, which is sort of like, it's like being a good musician. And I mean, some people don't have good timing. There's something, and I know I do. And I've got, so rhythmically, I understand I kind of understand how to make something funny if I have to make it funny. It's kind of like a dance. I mean, it's like dum ba dum bum bum bum. There's a real rhythm to the story, to the storytelling, and to the punctuation of the comment of the line. If it's just a line that's funny, so I don't find one harder than the other. What I find hard is if the story is not working, and I can't really, and it's not up to me to fix it, because I want to always. Now I'm at a point now where if it's not working, I can't just plow through. It's too uncomfortable. So I feel like what's really hard is when you have to do what's in front of you and you have to make it work. And sometimes it's really difficult to find the key when it's not well written, or the timing is off, or the story doesn't quite fit together, or I wouldn't do that because look what I just did. And there's only a certain amount of dialogue you can have depending on what's your position in the film. When you're just kind of a hired gun, you have to find the diplomatic way, and you have to be careful because there's real egos involved in acting, and then on a film set, not everybody's receptive to even the right answer. So it's kind of walking a little bit of a tightrope, but I always feel it's important for me to not give up what I know is correct. Because after all these years, I really do understand. And often I can be talked out of it. If you say, no, here's the reason why, it's like James Wan saying, you can't be funny there because I know there's going to be a scare there. So you have to be a good listener. You have to not let go of your own ideas, and you have to be a good team player.
LIN Shaye, it's been a pleasure spending time talking to you this afternoon. I want to thank everyone in the chat for being.
Thank you. This was really. As you can tell, I'm having a very good time here.
Well, we'll have you back. And Lynn, I just want to thank you for taking the time. We will have you back because I know you've got a movie coming up, but this Horror Crowd documentary is so fun. And I encourage everybody to check out the documentary. It's a blast. And it really gives you insight into how supportive and open everyone in the horror film community, film and TV community is.
Totally.
And you're an icon, and thank you for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you. Yeah, and this documentary is you get to hear from so many fantastic storytellers. It's totally, and everybody's talking about the same thing, but from their perspective. You will learn a lot, and you'll enjoy it a lot. It's extremely entertaining. Thanks, Ruben Pla. Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's
Lynn.
available. It's available on VOD right now.
Right now, you can get the Horror Crowd. Lynn, have a great afternoon. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you so much.
Take care. Bye-bye now. Wow.
Yeah, that was great.
She was amazing. Wow.
And we got the boobs.
Well, there's some comments here we're going to go through. What a beautiful soul, says Dempsey. Go Party Time says, yes, please come back. John Manaling says, love you, Lynn. It goes on to say, Lin Shaye is easily one of our VIPs. Welcome back anytime. Yeah, along with Owen Klein. Yeah. And Retro Nerd Girl, OMG, I am enjoying the stream so much. Lynn is wonderful. And then, let's see, I'm going to move myself over here, Alan, because that's better for you. Rack Focus says Patrick Lemire. Luther Talbert says, Chris, your face is so damn red. Too funny. I just don't want to we've already got a strike on our channel. We keep getting copyright claimed. Like, we have to actually do some things to change the channel, unfortunately. But Fear the Turtle says, best interview the show has ever done. Can we make this a recurring thing? Well, we do interviews. Yeah. Well, last Friday we did Owen Klein, and you should go back and watch that interview. It was insane. Best guest ever, says the Alex Zorba. Not the Batman, says film history there. That belongs in a museum. No, John Manaling says she is the best. And that belongs in a museum, says Patrick Lemire. I love this. I love this.
I'm trying to figure out which ones you've gone through.
Okay. It's messing me up. Bayla Bean says, I love this woman. Iconic boobs. Right there. We need when John Bailey says boobs, says Jack D. Ripper. It's worth a strike, Chris.
Yeah, we got that one. Yeah.
There you go. We're gonna wrap it up here real quickly, but because we've got some non-Lin Shaye related comments, Alan's gonna have to step up his boob game.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, it might be a good time for this. I think it's a perfect time. There's never a wrong time for a video like that.
Yeah. But, hey, by the way, thanks to everyone who's been commenting on our Instagram page.
Oh, are there other positive comments?
Yeah, I mean they're mixed now. I think we're combating the hate. Someone wonders if Breitbart just bought us.
Delete that comment. I saw that guy. Fuck that guy. Oh yeah, we can. Yeah, we're gonna delete the ones that are. I don't mind people disagreeing. I don't mind disagreement. But you're attacking me. Fuck you. You don't get to do that. Come here and debate. This is the cowardice of the internet. To come back to this topic that opened the show. This is the cowardice of the internet, is that you can be anonymous and I'm on Twitter and I just drop this comment. And that's why I don't use Twitter all that much, because it's stupid. And same thing with Instagram, or people want to fight on. This is the place. This is why I really enjoy YouTube, and I enjoy talking to you. Everyone that is still, we still have over 200 people watching. So thank you for sticking around. It's always good. Stick around for the interviews. You never know who's going to be on the show. We might even maybe we'll get Robert Davi on the show to talk about the Hunter Biden.
You might actually do it.
I will talk to anybody. I'll talk to anybody. I don't care. Let's have a conversation. Let's discuss it, because that is the cowardice of other people on the other side that are trying to shut things down. It's the type of people that went after Larry Flynt, because I worked for the man in the 90s. He owned Film Threat at one time. I learned a lot from that experience. Larry Flynt owned Film Threat for about 5 years and really helped take us to the next level. And I learned a lot from that guy. Sacrificed literally he's paralyzed from the waist down from a crazy person who went after him and tried to murder him. Okay. He is a person who has fought for the First Amendment. I'm not going to be bullied or intimidated by these cowards. So please, if you're watching the show, go into Instagram, like the Hunter Biden poster, and leave a comment if you feel so inclined. Because this is ridiculous. This situation, people are afraid to speak their minds. People are afraid to say what they really think. And so what do? I just don't use Twitter all that much. I make veiled remarks, subtext, about things like Ming the Merciless, the Flash Gordon, Sam Jones movie from the 80s that thematically speaking was the same story as the comic strip from the 30s, and the serial that was from the 30s starring Buster Crabbe, same themes. Okay. And this is utterly ridiculous. I'm going to go through our comments here. Just post and ghost, Chris. Yeah. Tell him, Chris, says John Manaling. Bring Gina on, says Dempsey. Yeah, I follow Gina Carano and I follow each other on Twitter. When everything that happened to her, I said supportive words to her directly, but I'm keep things close to the chest when it comes to my personal opinions about things on social media, because I just don't give a shit to have that discussion. Now, do you want to have a conversation here? You want to have a conversation here? You want to debate me here? I'll invite you on. Like Eric July. So I admire about Eric July. He will monetize his haters. He'll actually bring his haters on a live stream and have a conversation with them and debate them. But none of those people that are posting on Instagram now have the balls, have the courage to speak their minds and debate, because when they begin to debate, you see how their arguments fall apart. We literally posted a poster. Alan, can we share it again?
Yeah.
The Instagram, and bring Gina on. I may reach out to her. I have not seen the movie yet. Yeah,
I'll try to see it this weekend if I can.
Yeah. So, we're going to review the movie. Now, the movie looks pretty bad. Let's be honest. It looks a little cheesy. I mean, it looks like an exploitation movie, right?
Yeah.
But why should we not review it? This concerns me that there is such cowardice when it comes to film critics. Now they're not reviewing films because they may disagree with the film. Hey, you know what? Review this movie. Give it a bad review. Tell me why I shouldn't like it. It does, or review any of the movies that come from the Daily Wire. I don't think any of the movies, with the exception of the documentary "What Is a Woman," they're not overtly political or issue based. They're just movies. So there you go. And Shucksy, I really like this comment. Chris saw Metropolis in the theaters when it first came out as well. Yeah, that's why they call me the Ancient One. Thank you for that, Shucksy. I have a sense of humor about myself. I like to think I do anyway. Dempsey, Hollywood should watch these. I'm tired.
Yeah, Hollywood should watch these releases and take note. Also, leave these movies alone. Don't remake them.
Says Dempsey. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Why? How's the old style of telling stories so passe now that we can't do it anymore?
Well, it's not. This is the thing. This is why it holds up. I mean, E.T. was released last weekend. Now we have Jaws, or a couple weeks ago. Now we have Jaws in the theater. The theaters need these movies. These classic blockbusters they still hold up. And there's a whole generation of moviegoers that have not seen these movies on the big screen as they were intended to be presented. Mark Clement, Jaws really changed the way we see the ocean. You can't go in there without thinking about it. Completely true. Vamp King says, I'm new to California. What are some staple theaters you would recommend I should go visit? I do recommend the AMC Burbank 16 in Burbank. There's this little courtyard where there's like a Buffalo Wild Wings, there's like a sushi place, there's a Yard House, there's an Islands next door to that, and then a Wood Ranch if you're into barbecue. I had barbecue last night. That's a theater that we do a meetup every week. We usually pick one of those restaurants. We meet up and we pick one movie to go see. I was there last night. I was so exhausted. I was like, I already saw Jaws. I saw Jaws the other week. I'm going to go home. So I didn't see a movie last night because there was nothing. I'd seen everything. But AMC Burbank 16, open invitation. Go to a movie there on a Thursday night. You will run into me at some point. Patrick Lemire, studios should always have a classic back in the theaters. At this point, there's like a dearth of new releases. So yeah, there should be something where they just kind of rotate. I hope they bring Close Encounters back in IMAX. That would be amazing. Jack D. Ripper says it's the best movie, pure entertainment and craftsmanship. I would agree. We got some super chats here we did not get to, and I will get to those, I promise. Joel Rolstein for 15. If you want to talk with directors outside of Hollywood, how about Dallas Jenkins, co-creator and director of The Chosen? This series about Jesus' disciples is filming a 3rd season, 7 seasons planned.
Yeah, I've not always been a fan of faith films, but Dallas Jenkins seems to do it right. Probably Chosen is probably the best Jesus movie I've seen, Jesus series. And then The Resurrection of Gavin Stone, which was produced by WWE and Blumhouse, is a very good movie as well.
Cool. Yeah, no, we'll talk to, I mean, the thing is this, we'll talk to anybody. How are they? I mean, look, mainstream journalists freaking have talked to like Osama bin Laden has been interviewed on like ABC News. Okay. Mm-hmm. Many people, what are we doing now where we're like, you can't talk to this person. You can't even talk about this movie. I get, obviously I get very worked up about this.
Yeah.
But Dallas Jenkins, totally. There is an effort now to suppress, I think, faith in film.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's been that way a long time.
Like
these
days it's weird. It's like, it's now become an insult to say like, well, you go to church, you believe in Jesus, as if that's a bad thing.
Yeah. Or worse, you're a patriot. You know, you like the American flag. How dare you have an American flag on your car?
Or on your t-shirt, Alan, you got to show off this t-shirt.
It's a Film Threat t-shirt.
So. Yeah. So you can go to shop.filmthreat.com, grab yourself a Film Threat t-shirt or a mug. We have these like mugs, pick up a mug. It's got our classic logo and our logo there. But I would really appreciate your support. This is the thing. I used to be quiet about this stuff, and I feel like I really start to need to be louder because John Wahlbecker is here. Wahlbecker. John Wahlbecker. I'm going to get it right. The name is pronounced John Wahlbecker. And here's some support. And as much as the poster on Insta represents a pretty tasteless film project, it's supremely dumb to give you hate for posting it. Look, I didn't post it because we post, look through it like the other posters that we posted on our feed. If you scroll through the feed, it's everything from like lesbian romance films, documentary about LGBTQ rights, political docs, exploitation movies from Full Moon Entertainment, Attack of the 50-Foot Cam Girl. It's all over the map. And I thought it was a cool poster. Is it a good movie? Don't know. Now we're 100% going to review it. I'm not going to be intimidated by these people behind these fucking with their keyboard courage. Thank you, John Wahlbecker. Thank you, John. And I appreciate that John, who he likes the new Rings of Power series. I think he's giving it a chance, and I appreciate that comment. You know what? You are welcome here. You are welcome here, and we appreciate it. And look, I want to like it. I want every Disney Plus Marvel series, all the new. I want to like them all, and I'll tell you what I really think about them. So, thank you, John Wahlbecker. I appreciate it. And Joel Ralstein for 15. If you want to talk, we already got that one. We got that one. Thank you. And Jamin D for 20. Thank you. Greetings, Chris and Alan. Question for you both. When did you both start? Oh, yeah, that's right. We tabled this one. So yeah. Greetings, Chris and Alan. Question for you both. When did you both started seeing movies in more of an analytical way? And what made you decide about getting into this line? Alan, can you answer that question?
Yeah. The first memory I have of it is my mom. She's a computer genius. She's been working with computers since the early 60s. And when I saw Tron, and saw that connection between, this is the first time really computer speak was brought into a scientific environment like Tron, and that was the first time that it's like I wanted to really get into the nitty gritty of this movie, and I think that really launched my review, my love for reviewing films.
I was young. I just fell in love with monster movies. I loved monster movies, and I learned to read so I could read the newspaper and see the listings in the TV guide of what monster movies or science fiction movies were playing on television. This was like, kindergarten, right? I'm just like going through the newspaper, what monster movies are on. But it was Star Wars in 1977 that changed everything. So I would watch these monster movies, Creature Feature. I watched The Ghoul. If there are any folks from Michigan might remember The Ghoul, or the Midwest. He was also in Ohio. Ron Swede was the Ghoul, and he had a show that I loved. It was very irreverent. He used to read letters and make fun of people. He would blow things. He would blow up model kits with firecrackers, and then he'd show movies like Night of the Living Dead. And Night of the Living Dead blew my mind, because really, like, the first time I wrote an essay for a book series a friend of mine did. And the book series is Your Favorite Horror Movie. That's the book series. I wrote a chapter on how Night of the Living Dead, how impactful that was on me, how it ended. It didn't have a happy ending. Most monster movies and science fiction, if I recall at that time, they all had happy endings, and Night of the Living Dead did not. And then it was Star Wars in 1977 that also changed the way I look. And that's when I started buying movie magazines. I bought Starlog. I bought Famous Monsters of Filmland. I just collected all this stuff, and it was money from my newspaper route. I had a newspaper route. Well, that's how I could afford to buy comic books and Aurora model kits. And then I eventually bought a VCR when they were not cheap. They were not cheap at the time. They were like $1,000 for a VCR. And I bought a demo model for $700. My mom had to get a loan. I helped my mom build credit. After her divorce, she didn't have credit. So she had to, and it's weird, like women at a certain time in our history couldn't get credit cards. They had to have like a joint account or bank accounts with their husbands. It's very strange. This is like 60s, 70s. Anyways, so she got a loan to be able to have me buy this VCR, and then I paid the loan off early. I think it was like $30 a month. So I took money from my paper out, did that. And it was really around that era, like everything kind of coalesced. I got a VCR. I saw Star Wars. I was reading movie magazines, and I never thought to make a movie magazine of my own. And it was really, so it was like that period I started to like, well, who is George Lucas? I was now interested in people behind the scenes. George Lucas, Mark Hamill, like all the people behind the scenes that were, so it was really like at a young age, I became interested in this. Then I started Film Threat magazine right out of high school when I was 19 years old. And there's a documentary that we've been working on for about a decade that 100% I'm going to get canceled when it comes out. 100% the knives are coming out. If you think it's bad from posting a movie poster, wait until this Film Threat Sucks documentary comes out. That covers the period in the 80s and 90s. Oh, I don't care. I'm preparing for it. You can look up, there's a little teaser trailer that we put up a couple years ago. God, I think maybe 2015. Yeah, it was really like, I think Star Wars kind of was like, I'm buying every movie magazine with money from my paper out and just reading about how movies were made. So it was really then I bought magazines like American Cinematographer, Cinefex, Cinefantastique, among others. And then I wanted to do a punk rock movie magazine called Film Threat. And it's fucking 37 years later, and I'm still doing it. John Wallbacker says, for 10th, I have a feeling there's a lot we disagree on, but the core thing we clearly have in common is a love for movies. That is all that matters. I feel welcome here and respect you for that. John, my favorite thing to do is to talk movies, and especially with people I disagree with. It's the only opportunity for me to learn. I can learn from someone whose opinion differs from mine, as long as we're all open-minded. And you know what? Rings of Power may have just had the flaw of starting out slow. Remember when like movies would start out slow and then they kind of build and You know, it's kind of like, oh, this is kind of, and then it just builds to something. You know, I think a lot of people argued that Batman Begins kind of started out a little too slow. You look back and that just everything is important in that first act. And it does start out slow and builds. And you know, maybe this is the plan for the series. The series is starting out slow. So we'll see. And thank you, John, for that and your support. Hamish Rose says, always enjoy your free stuff. Chris, thank you. I will buy a t-shirt, had a hat from the 80s, which is no more. Oh, Hamish, thank you for that. You're a longtime fan. Love it. Send us a self-addressed stamped envelope. I'll send you some stuff. Gosh, so many comments here. We'll get through them. Spaceman, give them hell, Chris. Damn straight. Lynn was right. Don't be afraid to speak your mind. It's what makes America such a great place. Speak your piece. Don't be afraid. Yeah. Did you see Lynn? We go back. She started to cry during the interview.
Yeah.
It got a little like she was getting emotional. She didn't directly come out and say, but she was saying people are fearful of speaking their minds. And
speaking the truth. Speaking the truth. Yeah.
Speaking the truth. And she got like emotional. And yeah, I'm going to go through these comments from the bottom, Alan. So do my best to keep up here. J828, the Film Threat serial killer calendar. Oh, the memories. Can you imagine if we put that out today?
Oh my gosh.
There's like anything. Oh man, there's so many ways that Film Threat is going to get. I just don't fucking care. Like, you know what? Dig everything up. Don't care. Never going to apologize. Dempsey comment here. Diversity of thought means leaving the possibility of success and failure on the table. Lately, people forgot that even fans of something see things differently. Mm-hmm. Debate was half the fun of being a fan. Hell yeah. I love like getting in passionate debates about Star Trek. Passionate debate. Though this episode is the best. This is my captain. Folks, there's no right answer. There's no right answer. People are affected by things differently. And maybe that's why the She-Hulk show hits me a little bit differently. Is whether I wanted to or not, I grew up in a household, we had one TV. Not everything, I didn't get my choice to watch everything I wanted to watch. You know, I had to watch episodes of Maude. And only a few people probably even know what that show is.
I know Maude.
Very, very, very feminist show. I watched Mary Tyler Moore, not because I wanted to. It was on the TV and there were 3 channels. And I don't think we had a TV with a remote. Remotes were later.
I mean, you're talking Norman Lear. I mean, he was hardly balanced, but he produced great work.
And Patrick Lemire, my problem with Rings of Power is it pretends to be Tolkien, and it's far from it. Well, if you look at almost every franchise now, like Star Wars today, it's not Star Wars. Star Trek, it's not Star Trek. I tried to stick with Strange New Worlds. I found it mildly entertaining at the beginning. At least it's not super preachy, but I fell off after 3 episodes. I might jump back on the train because I'm using someone else's Paramount Plus subscription. I got threading the needle of having almost access to every subscription service, but I don't pay for them all. So basically I'm like an average person. Everybody does that. Fear the Turtles 21 was a member. Thank you for that. Fear the Turtle 21. If everyone agrees with you on everything, wouldn't that be kind of boring? Yeah, Alan, why don't you agree with me on everything?
Because that would be boring.
It would be boring. And Fletcher Williams agree with this so strongly. Debate in fandom is awesome. Now we are always just getting name called by people who are not fans but activists. Yeah, that I disagree with. That's why it's like, you know, even if I, you know, like I know a lot of the people from FNT and I'm friends with a bunch of them. And I'm proud to say that I'm friends with the FNT folks. Some people call them the fandom menace. You know, do I have to agree with them 100% on everything? No, but I love listening to their opinion. In particular, when I'm not on board, it's like, oh, I want to see there's something that I didn't see. And I love the debate. Fletcher Williams, appreciate that.
Anyway, go on FNT and then defend She-Hulk. We'll see how that goes.
I will. But see, I don't know if I'll be able. How is it going to end?
Yeah, I know.
We got 5 more episodes.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. They could screw the pooch in the end. Absolutely.
And Dan as a member, thank you. Chris, you're blinded by the boobs. I can't say it the way John Bailey does. I love John Bailey.
Yeah.
What a great guy. Solomon Thornton, fight the power, Chris and Alan. That's what my folks taught me. Chris and Alan, do whatever you want to do. I'll support. Well, thank you. This is why I prefer a nuanced conversation of YouTube, whereas social media is, well, you got this much space, make your point. And I don't think Instagram is a particularly good place for debate anyways, but please jump in on the debate and defend Film Threat. There's 1,100 other photos on there. This is the first one you're pissed off about? I mean, you're not pissed off about Attack of the 50-Foot Cam Girl? I would have thought you would have been pissed about that. Jesus, people are cowards. It's what I do think when I get in these debates, and this is no disrespect to younger people, it's mostly younger people. It's mostly children in adult-sized bodies. Mostly. I'm gonna get to everything here. Cavatino, Cavalryman Shay. Thoughts on new Quantum Leap series coming out later this month? It does not have Scott Bakula in it. Well, I think my thought would be if Scott Bakula is not in it, why would I care? Is he too old to be in it?
I don't know. I mean, I've heard. I can't imagine I don't know. I don't know the story on that one. At the same time, though, the Asian lead. I mean, is it so hard to believe that the Asian is the smartest one in the room? I mean,
I don't know. But,
it's my feeling.
Is it on?
It's good casting.
What's it on? Can we look it up? Quantum Leap.
I'm pretty sure it's Peacock, but I'll look it up.
Peacock, got it. Okay, I have a Peacock subscription, and by I have a subscription, meaning it's a free one. Spaceman, you never agree with your friends on everything. Yeah, why would you? You're not. Why would you agree with your friends on everything? That's stupid. You like your friends for the people they are, not because you agree on everything. More opinions make you smarter. I would agree with that.
Yeah, so it's September 19th on NBC, so I'm pretty sure it's coming on Peacock.
Oh, okay, cool. I have Hulu. Would it probably be on Hulu also?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, it would probably be
on Hulu. Robot dues, and thank you. Love that picture. Love your profile pic. By the way, hit the like button, people. Yes, hit the like button. Hit the like on the Instagram post. I'll tell you this, if you look through all of our Instagram, it has the most likes. So it's curious that it has the most likes. I don't know what that means, but and Turo, love you, man. We got to talk soon. Good for you, Chris. Stand your ground. I don't have to like everything you do and vice versa. That's true. Like if I have an opinion, like, but wait, I saw the black phone. I hated it or whatever it is. You're going to get a different opinion here. And that's fine. I don't have to like everything you do and vice versa. You use your passion for film to teach others how to appreciate and stay open to them. That's what matters. And Alan, I got the joke.
We're still the smartest in the room. That's all I'm saying.
No, that's good. Not the Batman says you only get canceled if you apologize. Never apologize. Never surrender. Yeah. I agree. Jack the Ripper, Jaws did to the ocean what Psycho did to showering in a hotel room. I don't feel that scared showering in a hotel room, but the ocean, yeah, for sure. And from North Jersey, Chris, you are a successful adult man who has run the maze. You have adult children of your own. And I like to say, my adult children didn't get pregnant, didn't get anyone else pregnant out of wedlock. Okay. They're not into drugs or alcohol. They're good kids. And by kids, they're like in their late 20s. So they're adults who are good people. My goal, and seriously, I remember saying this to my then wife, was like, I just want to raise 2 kids in Los Angeles that aren't assholes. It was literally, this is like the 90s. And I'm like, I just want kids that aren't assholes. Because I would see like these sort of these sort of like parents that just don't pay attention to their kids, just sort of let their kids run shod right over them. I'm talking about little children telling their parents what to do. And their parents being so weak-willed, they couldn't be an adult, be a parent. They couldn't parent using the verb form of that word. So thank you from North Jersey. Yeah, it's and I think that because they tried to cancel me back, it was 2014 or 2015, because I was doing a panel at WonderCon, and I was doing a panel at WonderCon, and they tried to come after me for that. It was about fanfic. I've told that story before. We could do a whole stream where I just tell weird stories. Tertiary Adjunct says Film Threat far alt right-wing, ultra-dark MAGA terror group confirmed.
Yep, there you go. We've been found out.
I will say this: if you read Film Threat, the website, you would never think that. On occasion, we're inclusive. Yeah. We're inclusive. Isn't that what you want? You want things to be inclusive. So if you want things to be inclusive, it includes all movies.
So we get money from Disney and from Breitbart now. So.
Sure, Alan. Sure. And Fear the Turtle 21 for 5. Sorry, I just meant making Lynn a recurring interview. Law, what a gem. She could, we could have her on like once a month. What's up with Lynn? We need to start another show, I think, because it's pretty busy between Wednesday and whatever. We're going to do the critics thing, the critics court about Star Wars. I feel like we need another day to do live stream. We did discuss with Glenn, who's our producer behind the scenes. We did discuss doing sort of a show that is not like Friday Night Tights, not like Tuesday night's main event, but a group show or Flashcast, but a group show where we have a lot of people on and we just talk. I think maybe we need to have that show. We could call it Monday Night Massacre. Monday Night Massacre, Monday Night Mayhem. What do people think? Monday Night Mayhem? There's already probably a wrestling show called that.
I'm pretty sure there is.
Is that, it sounds like Monday Night Mayhem sounds like a.
I mean, Monday Night Mayhem, I would believe that it's been done many times already.
It's been done. And Jamin D has 2 super chats here. We're going to, a couple more comments. We're going to wrap in just 5 minutes here. Jamin D for 20 says, greetings, Chris and Ellen. Question for you both. We already got that one. We didn't star it.
I don't even see it start here. So,
Jamin D for 10. Oh, you and your first world problems. How about we talking about the real issue here? I saw Ouija Shark because you kept talking about it. Sir, that is not a movie. You should be banned. Just kidding. Love you. First of all, I never said that was a good movie. I saw that movie too, Ouija Shark. It's awful.
I saw the trailer and I knew it was awful.
Yeah, it's so bad. It's like they have like this shark that's like a puppet of a shark.
Yeah.
It's like a shark puppet that they like blue green screen in. It's like cheap effects. Oh my God, Ouija Shark.
But
yeah,
I love how they have to explain how the shark got into the woods and how it's killing people in the woods.
Yeah. So, I'm so sorry, but like you kind of know what you're in for with a movie like that, and I feel like, hey, we're being inclusive. And Coach Charles just sends out 10. Did you have a? Maybe you forgot to put the text. Coach Charles, if you have text, put it on there. Monday night main event, Tights Mayhem BBC cast. Yeah, that Shucksy. That would be great. Just sort of combine that all. Monday night Raw Dog. Oh, that's great. Robot Dudes. Glenuccio says, call the show A Case of the Mondays. Oh, that's good too.
Hey.
Case of the Mondays. Monday night movies, says Turo. And we'll come up with a name. I do think we need another thing. But a lot of it is, I'm like actually really, as weird as it is, I do these, and this live stream's gone over 3 hours now. I'm very busy. I go see a lot of movies. I watch a lot of indie films at home. So my TV's kind of always on with a film. And then, and then I'm finishing this movie, right? Attack of the Doc, there's a little thread about cancel culture in there. Oh, I can't wait for you all to see it.
Yeah.
It is about Attack of the Show, but it's about a lot more than that. It's about how the culture has changed from the early 2000s, how nerd culture has changed from the early 2000s to the present. There's a lot more in this documentary than you think. My Monday with Maury. That's a little play on Tuesdays with Maury, a very good book that my mom encouraged me to read. And I read that book. And the author of that book is a sports writer from Michigan, the Detroit area. And my Monday with Maury. Thank you for that, from North Jersey. Dempsey, the Gore the Merrier. Oh, it's not a bad one. Monday Night Threats, says Jong, long last name. Monday Night 2, the Mondaying, says Shuxy. These are, okay, we have to remember all these. We have to remember all these. And somebody says, Ouija Shark, F the what? That's a real movie. Look up the trailer for Ouija Shark.
And there's a sequel coming out.
Yeah, Ouija Shark 2. And Ian Wakeham became a new YouTube member. Please become a member. There's tons of additional content in our members tab. And eventually we're going to be doing member streams. And the Alex Zorba says, Attack of the Dock is a day one Blu-ray purchase. Our goal is to get Attack of the Dock out before the end of the year on Blu-ray. The movie will be finished the end of September, and then it's screening, and this is actually breaking news. We are going to be screening at the Tucson Film Festival the weekend of October 13th through the 15th. I will be in Tucson, and I hope you come to the screening if you live in the Tucson area. And I believe tickets are going on sale in the next couple weeks. I had to send them some materials. So, and the Blu-ray before the end of the year is the goal. Anything can happen, though. I've heard there's actually supply chain problems when it comes to Blu-rays and stuff. So there's an issue there. Deadhouse, about to put Rings of Power on. Wish me luck.
Yeah. As long as you're not driving, you're okay.
Okay, here we go. Coach Charles, this might have been a super chat here. Coach Charles says, with so many choices of shows to watch, why do show producers think they can give us a slow burn with no spectacle? Like watching a countdown for 30 minutes before a host goes live. Yeah, like you really needed to knock it out of the gate. And I will say this, and look, I don't think that they did that with the first 2 episodes.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of these shows on Netflix and Hulu and stuff, it's I get to the first episode and it's either then and there if I'm going to watch it or not. If you don't get me, I'm not watching.
Jack D. Ripper says this stream is Joe Rogan long. Yeah.
It's getting there.
And then Fear the Turtle 21. Should I use the $3 movie tickets deal tomorrow on Beast or Bullet Train? Ooh. Beast was bad. Bullet Train is so-so.
If you had to choose.
If it's a choice, Bullet Train.
Yeah.
If it's a choice. Yeah. And we're going to end on this because I actually had a meeting at noon. And I've delayed the meeting. And I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. But what can you say? I don't want, they can't cancel the gore, says Sokoto, of course. They can't cancel the gore. Well, I would hope that if they do try to cancel me, you'll come. You don't even have to come to my defense. I really don't. It's fine. I'll be fine. But I am just a little annoyed that we're at this place in our history where I really don't feel, I can't tell you how many tweets I have in my drafts where I just don't tweet it. Maybe I'll do that next Wednesday. I'm going to go through all of the things I have in my Twitter drafts of like what I should.
Yeah.
I could.
Yeah. That used to be me. I'd spend hours not posting on social media.
Because, yeah, like one of them here, if you can't procreate, indoctrinate. That'll get me in trouble. Yeah. We're going to end it there, folks. Go to our Instagram, Film Threat Instagram, and like the Hunter Biden poster and post a comment. I would appreciate it.
Let me mention, there's one super chat that just came in.
Oh, yes, Joel. Okay, Joel Rolstein for 5. If I may ask another question about faith-based content, should Netflix drop the Narnia license before they ruin it? I think animation would be best. Alan?
Yes, Disney did not understand the heart of the Narnia series. That's why those failed. And I don't have faith that Netflix will get to the heart of the matter as well.
I don't understand why something doesn't have to be faith-based necessarily to have religious messaging.
But you need to understand the religious undertone in order to tell that story. And again, that's where Disney went wrong with the series.
Yeah, and I just think when I look at there's something heartless and cold about I'm not convincing anyone of anything. The Star Wars sequel trilogy was sort of lacking spirituality, real spirituality. And that was a part of the original Star Wars trilogy. It was spiritual in many ways. The whole idea and concept of the Force, the thing with no special effects, basically, the Force is the thing you believe because Alec Guinness gave a speech and told you what the Force was. And you believed it because it was so convincing in his acting. You believe the Force. There was something about that. There was Luke closing his eyes and believing in himself, like all of that. The idea of redemption, right? Of redeeming your soul, which is the story of the fall and rise of Anakin Skywalker.
Well, Kenobi should have been the same way. They should have explored the spiritual battle between Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi, and they didn't even come close to it.
They didn't do it, and even like they don't really. It could have been an opportunity. I don't think they ever should have fought in that Kenobi series. They never should have fought. What he should have done is Obi-Wan Kenobi be sort of like, in some way could have tried to spiritually redeem Anakin and fail, which would line up with the original trilogy where he says, no, you can't turn him back from the dark side. He's lost. You have to kill Darth Vader. And he's like,
Obi-Wan failed where it should have showed where Obi-Wan failed, where Luke succeeded.
Precisely. Thank you, Joel, for that. And what I do have concerns about is I cannot believe, because I am not a religious person, but I have people in my family and friends who are religious, but the shaming of religious people, it's now like an insult for someone to be considered someone who believes in. I think that I admire many of the spiritual and religious values. So this has now become an insult. You're a bad person because you go to church every week. It's really weird where we are right now. Yeah. And from North Jersey, thank you for 10. Happy birthday, Sir Gore of Los Angeles. Hoist one on me. I will happily do that. And we're going to
end on that one.
We're going to end it there because we've gone way longer than we thought. But I thank you all for your support. Thank you for the support on the Instagram. I think that that's really important to push back. Film Threat has been and is about free speech and exposing you to movies that that you may not have heard of. And all we did was post a poster. If that's the low bar it takes after 37 fucking years of doing Film Threat, we post a picture of a poster and you want to peace out on that? Fuck you. You were never a fan and you're a coward. And have a great Labor Day weekend, everybody. Have a great Labor Day weekend. I'm going to have barbecue. I'm going to hang with friends. I'm going to celebrate my birthday on Monday. And Alan,
we're doing the same thing. Let's get out of here.